Estamos en vivo. Oigan, feliz viernes, lo logramos, llegamos. No sé por qué esta semana se me hizo eterna, sentía que nunca iba a acabar, pero estamos aquí. Llegamos al viernes, día más importante de la semana. Y lo peor de todo, ¿saben qué es lo peor de todo? Que hago absolutamente nada. Pero aún así me costó trabajo llegar al viernes. No puedo, para toda la gente que tiene que trabajar y darle con todo todos los días todavía porque están chavos o por lo que sea. Mi corazón está con ustedes, cabrones. Mi corazón está con ustedes. Pero estén teniendo un excelente viernes. El día de hoy vamos a platicar, obviamente, antes de irnos al casino del tío Salo con el tío Farhan, el tío Alex también, para darle y ver cómo vamos con todo, con todos nuestros movimientos por acá de traders. Quiero platicar con ustedes un poco de la situación económica y también de lo que se está hablando en Estados Unidos, que va en una, vamos a decir, en una vertiente. Son palabras que nunca usa el tío Salo porque es un imbécil, pero vamos a hablar de una vertiente que tiene que ver con esto. Y eso es lo que hemos platicado antes de redes sociales. Están destruyendo nuestra atención, tíos. Están absolutamente destruyendo nuestra atención. Y esto ahora entiendo un poco del lo que lo hace tan atractivo, si lo quieres ver así. Y la razón por qué es porque a todo el mundo se le olvida absolutamente todo. Nadie está poniendo atención a largo plazo. Todo es como instantáneo. Si no pasa instantáneamente, nos olvidamos y movemos para adelante. Esto tiene que ver con lo que estoy platicando de Bitcoin, esto tiene que ver con lo que vamos a hablar de oro, con lo que estamos hablando de la economía en varios niveles. El día de hoy tuvimos datos de empleo. Estamos esperando crear 159,000 empleos, creamos 150,000, o sea, falló por nada. Y el desempleo subió de 4% a 4.1%, estamos esperando un 4%, lo que nos mandó absolutamente de lado en el mercado. Hemos visto que el S&P 500 ha tenido caídas en los últimos 11 días de 7%, es bastante significante. Normalmente correcciones en el S&P 500 son de 5%, por lo que esta ya es una de las correcciones más profundas en tiempos recientes. Así que pongamos atención a eso. Y ahora, ¿por qué les digo todo esto? Muy sencillo. La razón por la que estoy hablando de esto es porque hay muchísima gente hablando de la reserva de Bitcoin en Estados Unidos. Obviamente existe toda la emoción. Tenemos al presidente de Bitcoin, tenemos a Donald Trump, que le encanta tu Bitcoin y que quiere que tengas una diversión brutal con tu Bitcoin y que te la pases muy bien con él, que lo arropes en la noche y que lo abraces en las mañanas y le des un beso antes de irte a trabajar. Y eso, pues, a todo el mundo le suena muy bien. Al igual de que todas las demandas, ¿se acuerdan que el SEC estaba demandando a todos los exchanges, a Kraken, a Coinbase, a Binance? Todas esas demandas han desaparecido y van anunciándolas una por una. Entonces, esto debería de ser lo mejor para el mundo, porque, y ahora, una vez más, esto no es un análisis bajista, alcista, desaparecer, no, estoy solamente diciéndoles lo que está pasando, ¿ok? Nada más. Ya saben que nosotros vamos movimiento a movimiento, sabemos y tenemos nuestra estrategia a largo plazo, que la seguimos. No tiene nada que ver esto con el análisis de precio. Nada. Para toda la gente. Eso viene después, ¿ok? Por parte de los expertos. Ya saben que yo solamente vengo a decir estupideces. Y, como siempre, continuar esas estupideces. Se trata de esto. Donald Trump anunció que iba a tener una reserva de Bitcoin. Eso hizo que todo el mundo se emocionara muchísimo y todo el mundo dijera, por fin Estados Unidos va a tener una reserva de Bitcoin y va a empezar a comprar Bitcoin. Al mismo tiempo, Estados Unidos había dicho que iba a crear un fondo soberano. No un fondo soberano, es un fondo de inversión del país. Y esto lo dijeron al principio. Él, Donald Trump y Scott Bessent, que es nuestro secretario del Tesoro, han estado hablando de esto sin parar. Pero han estado hablando de esto sin parar consistentemente. Y lo que he visto es la narrativa alrededor del planeta se está yendo un poco de lado. Y es un poco lo que les quiero enseñar con esto, ¿ok? Voy a compartir pantalla rápido para que lo puedan leer. Share screen. Vamos a ir con mi mejor amigo, el gran Peter Schiff. ¿Cómo de que no? Que le encanta el oro, que habla de cripto, que la mayor cantidad de capital que los países diviertan a estos fondos va a ser pésimo, es lo peor que puede hacer un gobierno, etcétera. No es tanto lo que dice Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff nos da igual porque Peter Schiff tiene algo que vender y eso es oro. Literalmente tiene una empresa que vende oro, por lo que Peter Schiff tiene que seguir vendiendo lo que él vende. Y a mí se me hace una forma muy divertida de lo que hace, ahora que ya estoy viejo y lo entiendo. Y esto es básicamente lo que quiero que vean. Un segundo. No, aquí está. Les estoy diciendo, todos tienen que poner de verdad atención a lo que está diciendo. Nadie está comprando Bitcoin. Nadie. Están hablando de que esta reserva es simplemente todo el Bitcoin que ya confiscamos Lo vamos a meter en la reserva y no lo vamos a vender. Y aquí es donde esto lo han dicho desde el principio, día uno, lo han dicho. Y aún así, la gente se lo pasa por las bolas, eh, simplemente porque están buscando o están enamorados de algo. Y es la manera incorrecta de verlo. La mejor manera de ver el mercado, en mi opinión, y lo que he disfrutado muchísimo en este rally, es ver a la gente de lejos. ¿Y a qué me refiero de lejos? A los alcistas y a los bajistas disfrutarlos igual. Tú lo único que estás haciendo es ver por ti mismo, no por algo que no tiene voz ni voto como es Bitcoin. No, no estoy aquí para también promover Tesla, no estoy aquí para promover Rivian, yo estoy aquí para que me hagan dinero. Y voy a disfrutar muchísimo de ver a la comunidad, a las comunidades de las diferentes cosas, los diferentes bienes, no, como Bitcoin, Tesla, Rivian, por ejemplo, solamente para darles un ejemplo tonto, pelearse o estar muy contentos. Y es lo que yo voy a usar para ver cómo se sienten todos y más o menos tener una idea de dónde estoy parado en el mercado. Un ejemplo tonto que tengo y que siempre les doy es, eh, eh, ay, se me fue el avión, cabrón. Bueno, ahorita les cuento el ejemplo que siempre les doy, según yo. Pero bueno, estoy hablando de esto y viene un tío y me dice, sí, te equivocas, ¿no? Aquí pone, vean esto. O sea, él mismo me mandó esto, pero la gente, no, una vez más, quieres hablar de economía y no entiendes cómo funciona y cómo es el dinero creado y cómo se financia el gobierno, no es que no tengas el derecho a una opinión, opina lo que quieras, pero entiende. Es como si a mí me platican de cohetes. Entiendo propulsión, entiendo todo, o sea, a niveles grandes, pero no me voy a meter a pelearme, a decirte cuál es el mejor motor para el mejor propulsor para un cohete, porque no tengo ni puta idea. Y es un poco esto lo que se está permeando en toda la sociedad, la opinión del no experto. Y no se trata de la opinión del no experto, es simplemente todos tenemos una opinión. Y más que todos tenemos una opinión y todos tenemos el derecho a tenerla y todos podemos compartirla todo el tiempo, es difícil ahora para mucha gente poder encontrar información buena. Y no estoy diciendo que yo les traigo información buena, yo también soy un pendejo y me equivoco todo el tiempo. Pero aquí hay muchas cosas muy repetidas. Y esta cosa es, Estados Unidos no va a vender el Bitcoin que pongan en la reserva. Va a estar simplemente guardado. Bien, ahí están diciendo lo que yo dije. Este tío me mandó esto para decirme que estoy mal, ¿ok? Para que entiendan esto. Secretaría del Tesoro y Comercio están autorizados para desarrollar un presupuesto, estrategias de presupuesto neutral. Y eso no está subrayado, como pueden ver. Budget Neutral Strategies. No, no, no. Para adquirir más Bitcoin. O sea, este güey simplemente subrayó adquirir más Bitcoin, pero no estrategias de presupuesto neutral, ¿ok? Estas estrategias no incrementan el costo de los que pagamos impuestos en Estados Unidos, ¿ok? Es literalmente lo que dice. Es literalmente lo que dice este güey. Quiero que entendamos una cosa muy rápido. Y luego, espera, lo que quería decir después, espera, ya me acordé. Este güey me contestó esto. Solamente para que ustedes lo tengan en mente, ¿ok? Una vez más, rápido. Pone, puedes creer lo que quieras, pero esto es como Estados Unidos va a hacerlo, ¿ok? Vender oro. Sí, 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 sí. Estados Unidos va a vender su oro, que no ha tocado, entre comillas, no sabemos lo que ha pasado, pero mínimo no lo ha tocado por no sé cuántos años. Estamos hablando como de 50 años, 40 años, ¿no? Vender cripto. Bueno, vamos a pensar en esto. Están diciendo que no van a vender nada de cripto, pero vamos con esta idea. Hoy vendes cripto. Hoy vendes Bitcoin en $80,000. ¿Tú crees que el gobierno va a ir a comprar Fartcoin con esos $80,000? Que va a empezar a tradear el portafolio y después, una vez que Fartcoin acabe su out season, vamos a movernos de vuelta a Bitcoin. No. Otra, issue Bitcoin bonds. Esto, Bitcoin bonds, es pedirle a la gente que le preste dinero a Estados Unidos para comprar Bitcoin, por lo que el costo al ciudadano que paga impuestos en Estados Unidos sería indirectamente afectado. No vamos a crear bonos para comprar Bitcoin porque no creamos bonos para comprar oro. Sencillo. Y Doge, que es la mejor y mi favorita, porque este tío es claramente fan de Elon Musk y de Donald Trump, ¿no? Y estos son los grandes ejemplos que me dio. Doge está haciendo absolutamente todo lo contrario de lo que todo el mundo cree. Y a lo que me refiero todo el mundo cree es que va a ayudar a subir cosas así. Doge está desinflando la corrupción, está desinflando la masa monetaria. Eso genera lo que estamos viendo en los mercados. Esto es lo que la gente simplemente, así, huevudo, entiende entre ellos. ¿Creen que de verdad el gobierno de Estados Unidos va a vender su oro para comprar cripto? ¿No? Esa es la fantasía. Solamente no quiero que caigas en esta tontería. Vender su cripto, Estados Unidos no va a tradear el portafolio, no van a contratar ¿cómo se llama este güey? A Will Clemente, no van a contratar a Will Clemente, que tiene como 23 años, para que esté tradeando todas las altcoins y todos los bitcoins. No vamos a hacer bonos de bitcoin porque no hemos hecho bonos de oro, ¿no? No tenemos por qué respaldar bitcoin con nuestro dinero, porque eso sería literalmente poner al dólar después. Y Doge, una vez más, está aquí para cortar el gasto estúpido, lo que desinfla la masa monetaria, lo que crea desempleo, etcétera. Ahora, esto puede traer algo y Angela lo dijo el día de hoy, estaba en Twitter y dijo, creo que muchos no están entendiendo lo que está pasando, están hablando de confiscar Bitcoin y confiscar criptomonedas. Es exactamente lo que va a pasar. Lo que va a pasar es vamos a tener otra situación donde otro tipo de exchanges o algo así vaya a tronar como Luna, todas estas cosas que han tronado, FTX, etcétera. El gobierno de Estados Unidos va a recuperar ese dinero y se lo va a quedar. No van a hacer otra cosa. Y ahora, podría ser, van a ir en contra de la gente que se ha portado mal y le van a quitar su Bitcoin también. Podría ser. No tengo idea y no estoy diciendo eso. No estoy diciendo que vaya a ser perseguido por tener Bitcoin. No, no, no. Simplemente estoy diciendo que esto no es la noticia que todo el mundo está vendiendo. No lo es. No lo es. Por más que quieran sacarle, les estoy leyendo el mismo párrafo que ese güey leyó, pero que él subrayó la parte importante, ¿no? Según él, que era la parte menos importante. La parte importante es, no puede haber costo a los ciudadanos que pagan impuestos para comprar este delicioso Bitcoin. Una vez más, no me importa a dónde vaya el precio. No soy fanático de arriba, no soy fanático de abajo. Yo simplemente voy a hacer lo que esté viendo que el mercado está haciendo, que es lo importante. Y lo mismo hago con todas las demás cosas. Todo el mundo se metió en el fervor una vez más de comprar Rivian y Tesla. Yo les dije, yo personalmente todavía no lo veo. Todavía no lo veo. Tienen que pasar cosas y vamos. Ahora, ¿por qué les conté esto antes para cerrar? And boys, I'll be there in 2 seconds. I'm almost done with my bullshit. ¿Por qué les cuento esto antes para cerrar? Simplemente porque esto prueba que la gente no se acuerda de nada, que la gente está dispuesta a leer lo que ellos quieren, que la gente va a crear las narrativas ahora que la información está completamente dispersada y que la atención de la gente está completamente dispersa y ponen atención a quien sea que les aparezca en un video popular, que es un gran error. El Internet te lo está dando de comer, ¿no? Que es así no se buscan las cosas, no te aparece información que va a ser privilegiada y que te va a ayudar en algo, nunca. Tienes que buscarla, tienes que buscar esas fuentes. Esas fuentes no son promovidas por el algoritmo, no lo son, porque no le interesa a nadie que la gente esté toda de acuerdo en el mismo plano y no peleándose, ¿ok? ¿Y por qué lo digo? Porque todo el mundo está ignorando lo que ya pasó. Una vez más, no estoy prediciendo el futuro, les estoy diciendo lo que ya pasó. Y esto les va a ayudar muchísimo a todos los que entiendan lo que significa. Una vez más, no me interesa si simplemente no lo crees o lo que sea. Es lo que ya está pasando y solamente vengo a decírtelo una vez más, tal cual como esto. Y eso es, despedimos a cientos de miles de personas del gobierno y los despedimos en escalera. ¿Y a qué me refiero en escalera? Que los primeros despedidos van a estar despedidos por ahí de septiembre. Y ahí es cuando vamos a ver todo soltarse como una cascada para afuera, una presa para afuera. ¿A qué me refiero? Acabamos de hablar de los números de empleo. ¿Qué va a pasar cuando aparezcan en los datos de empleo? Que de nuevo, esto ya pasó, esta gente ya fue despedida, simplemente todavía no entra en los libros. Lo pueden buscar, por favor, búsquenlo para que no crean que estoy loco. O tal vez estoy loco, pero búsquenlo para ver si estoy mal o estoy bien. Eso, damas y caballeros, va a causar, como sea, pánico en el mercado, porque el desempleo explotando a la alza, como va a explotar, como ya explotó, pero todavía no entra en los libros, va a causar pánico. ¿Qué pasa en un mercado con desempleo gigantesco? ¿Por qué revisaron? ¿Alguien de ustedes ha estado escuchando que revisaron los datos del GDP de 2.5% a menos 3% en Estados Unidos? Y se acuerdan lo que platicamos antes. en un cambio de presidente trayendo a Trump, van a poder desenmascarar toda la verdad y sacar cómo nos está yendo. Se viene. Se viene. Yo sé que todo el mundo cree que viene inflación y que vienen las tarifas y todo eso. Hey, cada quien. Es lo único que quiero que sepan. Si ustedes saben esto, o mínimo dense una vuelta y búsquenlo. Si encuentran estos datos y corroboran con lo que estamos diciendo, sabemos qué va a pasar. Y si no, y estos datos que yo estoy diciendo no existen y estoy mal, pues, güey, estoy completamente mal. El mercado debería subir muy cabrón. Para saber si estoy bien en lo que estoy diciendo, para el fin de año tenemos que tener una recesión. Si estoy mal, tendremos inflación y continuará esa inflación para fin de año y para adelante. Así de fácil, así de fácil. Y ahora he visto a gente que está poniendo clips míos equivocándome de hace 3 años. Estoy dando aquí otro, buenísimo, que van a poder usar por otros 5 años. Fin de año, recesión, es lo que yo creo. Ya oficial, choncha gorda, potente, deflación. Ya tenemos la fecha, pues ya les había dado la fecha, 2026. Todavía sigue siendo 2025, 2026. Sigue siendo, no ha cambiado desde hace un año y cacho que lo platicamos. Así que atentos a ello. Vámonos como degenerados, pero como degenerados al casino del tío Salo. Los quiero invitar a todos, por cierto, a nuestro Discord. Si se quieren dar una vuelta en nuestro Discord, se los dejo por acá. El enlace está en la descripción. Es súper fácil de usar. Todos los botones de la izquierda son los menús, ¿no? Entras, aquí dice Elite Trading Academy. Tienes acá en la izquierda el análisis de Alex, los análisis de Farhan. Tiene el chat general. Si ustedes están tradeando y necesitan, a mí me encanta tradear con comunidad. La razón por qué es porque siempre puedes ver si estás equivocado, puedes ver si otras personas tienen otro punto de vista y puedes hacer un análisis más choncho con otros. Y aquí lo tenemos. Esto describe perfectamente al mercado, por cierto. Esto somos todos diario, ¿no? Aquí andamos. Vamos a ver cómo nos va con el mercado. También tenemos nuestro criptolingo para todos los que están aprendiendo y que no entienden ciertos términos. Aquí los tenemos. Todo esto es gratis, por cierto. Gratis. Vengan a compartir cuánto están ganando, cuánto están perdiendo. Un 58% en ese short, 199%. Güey, tíos, estoy muy seguro que ustedes son la comunidad más perra de todas ganando. Porque la neta, Alex y Farhan son unos monstruos. Esto es ridículo. Oh. Wow. Felicidades, no mames, felicidades a todos. Me da muchísimo gusto que se lleven ese dinero al banco, para arriba o para abajo, cabrones. También tenemos testimoniales, si nos pueden venir a dejar unos testimoniales, vénganse, tenemos noticias, preguntas, lo que necesiten y también enlaces. Y para ustedes que quieran tradear futuros con nosotros, les voy a dejar acá, estamos en el sitio de Elite Trading Academy, pueden entrar a esto gratis, se van a meter en tutos, le van a picar ahí arriba y en tutos te va a poner cómo tradear con bluffing. Y acá le vas a picar, tienes el enlace para entrar a bluffing directamente y tienes un video de 5 minutos que te enseña cómo fondearlo, cómo usarlo, cómo abrir un corto, cómo abrir un long, todo esto, aquí lo tienes, 5 minutos, todo el mundo lo puede usar, absolutamente gratis, tradea con nosotros futuros de cripto. Y si quieren tradear futuros de acciones con USDT, igualito que como tradeamos esto, también tenemos un enlace abajo que se llama BTCC. BTCC tiene acciones, tiene Forex, tiene comodidades, tiene bastantes cosas por ahí para que puedan tradear además de cripto. Y también tenemos un torneo de trading en BTCC, en BTCC, donde estamos regalando 60,000 USDTs a los primeros 5 lugares. Lo estamos dividiendo en esa bolsa. Si quieren tradear ahí con nosotros, solamente tienen que picarle al enlace, empezar a tradear y eso cuenta en el pool de absolutamente todo. Y sin más ni más, vámonos a la acción, damas y caballeros. Tengo aquí a Alex, tengo a Farhan. My boys, good morning. How are you?
Buenos días, muchachos.
Good morning.
Muy bien.
What market we're in?
¿Y tú?
Alex, you're gonna have to do something at some point because this is gonna turn into a Spanish show.
Yeah, I know.
So if you see here, nice bounce off the EMA 200.
I can't wait. I mean, it's happening already, but I can't wait to fucking further this. How you guys looking at the market? We're going to start, obviously, the first thing that everybody wants us to look at is Bitcoin, but how are you guys looking at everything? How is it feeling out there?
It's a maximum fuck you season, basically, where I like to call it in the market. It'll liquidate you whether you're bullish or you're bearish.
Yeah. I feel
I
exactly
mean,
how that GIF was on the Discord of the clock and the guy crying. Just we're so bad, we're over. Yeah, it's really not fun. I'm hoping we can finally get some follow through on this range soon. Hopefully, possibly today even.
because the thing is, we're getting volatility. Is just like the problem is that it's just not going up. It's going up and down like crazy, but within the same range, and it's not letting us really go for those delicious swings that we'd like to
Yeah.
take.
The
That's the
market keeps
problem.
giving you. You seen the movie The Polar Express? It's like a classic Christmas movie.
Yeah, of course.
So there's that scene whenever he first gets on, then the conductor gives him a ticket, and he zooms in on the ticket and says round trip. The market keeps giving you those. Nothing but those this week.
Dude, I round trip every single one of my trades in the past week. I'm not gonna lie. I only made one trade yesterday I made $300, and I was like, that's it. I just need to take some money so that I can feel like I'm winning at something.
The funny part about all of that is all of the money you end up round tripping ends up equaling to the same amount of money you would have made if it actually went in your favor and you held all the way through.
Yeah,
It's so and that's the most annoying part, to be honest with you. It's really frustrating. But let's get it. Let's look at what you guys are looking at.
All right.
Whoever wants to share the screen
I'll start
first,
with
let's do
Bitcoin
this.
because I'm gonna have to head out at 11 o'clock to my flight.
Oh yeah, yeah, very important trips. Look at foreign.
My brother's birthday.
Felicidades.
Feliz cumpleaños.
There you go.
All right, so which one shall I start on? I'm gonna start basically on. I'll start on the 5 day because the 5
Whatever
day is
fits
one
your
that
bias the best.
has the active setup right now. Exactly.
There you go.
So the 5 day right now does have momentum flipped to the upside right now. It is breaking out of the bearish control zone with volatility currently flipping down. So as of this moment, you should be looking at this as a corrective move. But on the other hand, if you were to look at the last time momentum was ever this low on the 5 day and it flipped back up and it crossed over the moving average, it was right over here. If we look at where price was in that point, whenever we flip back up, it was basically literally the exact bottom. And then we went up only from there, basically absolutely vertical from around $53,000 to $100,000. That's a little bit worrying right now because my bias is leaning on the bear side. So I am going to have to point that out that we are getting to those same areas where we're flipping back up on the momentum and we're getting over the moving average. Now I want to zoom in a little bit and see if it went lower. So we actually did. So momentum went a good amount lower than it did over here, but price action made a significantly higher low, giving us possible hidden bullish divergence on the 5 day. Disagrees with my bias, but I got to tell you it's there. And the way to confirm that hidden bullish divergence is right now you got to close above $95,150. If that happens, then we're maximum bullish, and this thing is probably going to go to significantly new all-time highs rather quickly. $95,150 is the number on the 5 day. Last time we had that hidden bullish divergence on the 5 day was right around this point where we had it possible. Then we confirmed it on this candle. We got a little bit of a correction and then up only. Right now, the jewel is starting to lose its curvature just a little bit. If we do close over, we don't have to close over this high. We don't have to confirm the divergence to lose the curvature. Just closing over this 38.2% would do it. And that's at about $92,350. Switch to the 3 day now. 3 day also has the same thing the 5 day has, with momentum flipping back up, losing the bearish control zone, getting over the moving average while volatility is contracting. So as of this moment, you should be looking at it as a corrective move while volatility is contracting. But just like on the 5 day, if you notice on the 3 day, momentum went way lower than all of these lows, while price action is picking a higher low, giving us possible hidden bullish divergence on the 3 day as well. On the 3 day, it's a little bit easier to confirm it. Because on the 3 day, you'd have to close above. No, my bad. It's actually the same number, $95,150. If you were to close above that on the 3 day, you would have hidden bullish divergence. You would have many drives of it, and that would also give us a minimum target of hitting the 38.2%, which is about $110,000. Very, very slight new all-time highs. I don't know if the 3 day volatility will support us getting significant all-time highs, but the 5 day definitely does. It's 5 days coming from less than 50%. And also on the 3 day, Jewel, if you pointed out, it is now losing its sell signal, losing the downwards curvature, and flipping back around, giving you a neutral signal. Let's mark with the vertical line. Last time we got it, we lost the sell signal on the 3 day and flipped to a neutral within the bearish control zone. Right there. Let's mark this current one off as well. Uh-oh. This one went pretty close, but not quite. Fuck.
Hey guys, I'm just here quickly to remind you. Basically, only, and just purely tailwinds from now on crypto.
Only
So only
tailwinds.
tailwinds. All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Just remember that. I gotta go to look at the tailwind ventilator. Be right back.
Thank you, Scott.
Muchas gracias, Scott.
Appreciate it.
Sorry. He was really excited to say that.
Let's do it already. There, and that should be enough examples. This is where the jewel starts to lose its sell signal within the bearish control zone and flips into a neutral signal. So we fired it off right here on this close. This gave us immediately a move up of about 25%. Correction, we were down less than 1% if you held, and then up of 31%. From here, immediately up of about 51.5%. You were still up 17% on this correction, and then up 86%. This one was less. This was pump of about 20%, similar to that 25% number. This one was a lot bigger. 185%. $86, 80%, very similar to that 86%. And as of now, from the open, we're only up 4%. If you take the minimum move of 20%, brings us to about $105,000, $106,000, getting us significantly above these previous lower highs, making it very likely we're going to confirm that 5-day and 3-day hidden bullish divergence. Then take it to the medium move of about 50%. $50% brings us to around $132,000, very close to that 78.6% level. And then the higher end move of 80%, $157,000, $158,000. Very interesting. That one fits into our quarterly hidden bullish divergence target. And all of those numbers are a very big if, because you haven't gotten that close over this area yet at $95,150. And it would not be wise to front run that, because it can. You have to remember, you still have that monthly hidden monthly bearish divergence, and a monthly bearish divergence is going to be a lot more powerful than a 3-day or a 5-day hidden bullish divergence. So until you get that close over that 95,150 area, you should still be on the bearish outlook, especially since volatility is now is contracting while momentum moves to the upside. It's just the monthly, and right now monthly is still bouncing off that 9 EMA. We've now reclaimed the 5, but our wick high right now, as of this moment, is still a rejection of this median. As long as we're rejecting the median, we still have to be in a bearish positioning, and we still have to expect for lower. And technically, that would be the next EMA as long as we're rejecting this median. The next EMA sitting right now is about $66,000, $67,000, which will rise in this next monthly open. But if you close over that median, which was right now at $93,600, that would also give you if you get a close over 95,150 to confirm your divergence, it would give you a close over the median. So that would give you another piece of the puzzle telling you that you're likely going to go significantly higher. Because if you close over that median, that will take you to the 38.2%, which right now is at about $150,000. So that, along with 5-day and 3-day hidden bullish divergence, very likely you do hit that 150 area. Right now, the monthly momentum is flipped to the upside, and it is over the moving average, while volatility is approaching 0%. Last time we had a setup like this, momentum flipped to the upside, volatility was approaching 0%. It was right over here when we went from about, it was during our United States setup of 2023. Very interesting. The number right now to confirm, to flip this momentum to the downside, won't be able to give you an exact number, but a rough number would be below about $81,400. Close below there, and then this momentum will likely flip back to the downside and probably goes pretty quickly to 67K from there. But as of right now, on the monthly, it is pointed up. Interesting to see that with the bearish divergence. Is this gonna end up being the most disappointing monthly bearish divergence of all time?
I don't know.
Cool.
You know what? I haven't seen Michael Saylor in a while.
Haven't.
No.
On the quarterly, this is a little bit more bearish, and it is a very high time frame. Is momentum is starting to get below the moving average on the quarterly, with volatility starting to expand. The last time we ever had that on the quarterly was volatility was contracting. Very interesting. We went from about July of 2023 from about $30,000 towards $73,000. Volatility was contracting. Where's momentum going down? Right here. Here's the last time we had volatility expanding with momentum below the move, dropping below the moving average. Right over here. Price dumped 54 to 55% rather quickly after that. And if we were to take a 54% move from here, just takes quick maths because it's an easy number to just half it. That takes you around $42,000 to $43,000. Very interesting, very bias fitting. So this is probably the most powerful time frame to look at right now to get a more long-term bias. Because this one is telling you that momentum is dropping down. We haven't confirmed it yet. It hasn't closed yet. It's going to close in 24 days and 9 hours. But once that closes and confirms this momentum to the downside, the last time we had that was basically right before our Luna dump. And that would go along with having monthly bearish divergence and then confirming it on the quarterly as well. Because if you look on the quarterly, higher high on the RSI, momentum, lower high on momentum, higher high on price, lower high on momentum, higher high on price, lower high on momentum, higher high on price. Yeah, quarterly bearish divergence as well.
The
quarterly one,
nuts.
yeah, the quarterly one is going to be quite devastating. And then if you look at the monthly Joule is now losing its buy signal on the monthly, curving back around, giving you a neutral. Very soon, this is going to curve into a sell signal. And the last time we got a sell signal from this area, let's mark it off. Let's just mark the neutral signal. And notice what else this is going to confirm on the Joule is you have a high right here in May of 2024 at $74,000. You have a lower high here when price was trading around $100,000. So that's bearish divergence on the Joule. All right, we don't have very many examples of getting that sell signal around this point. There we go. Doesn't look like that much on the chart, but it was a 49% dump. $79%. 77%. 71, 72%. Very similar numbers.
What would that be like?
24%. And then from this one, let's mark that with a vertical line. Here's the neutral signal. We've only dropped 3.5%. If we take the minimum move, which was around 21%. Come on. Brings us to about $67,000. Very interesting. Very bias fitting. And then take the medium move of around, what was it, 50%? Brings us to $42,000. Very, very, very bias fitting. My bias is all over the screen at the moment. Then the high-end move of 80%, which I don't think is going to happen because it doesn't fit my bias. That's $15,000. And let's be real, fellas. If Bitcoin's going back to $15,000, it's going a lot lower. It's probably going to fill that CME gap at $9,200. Maybe even fill the CME gap at $3,200 or $3,300. And then fill that little gap at zero.
And and then just quickly disappear forever.
It's just gonna become irrelevant for the next 30 years. Just a quick correction for 30 years.
Just real quick to zero.
Real quick bounce from zero.
But strong bounce back for sure. Strong bounce back.
But in all seriousness, though, if it actually did go to zero, the bounce from zero would be insane. It would
Insane.
It would end up failing, but it would be a fucking mental ass bounce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wife changing money type of bounce.
Oh, dude, like wives changing money. You can go through several.
Become the Sultan of Brunei real quick, just with the 100x long there. On the 2 week, we are getting momentum into the bearish control zone with volatility pointed up and a God mode sell signal. It's not looking the best, and we've lost 38.2%. Last time we lost 38.2% on the 2 week, not even over here. It was, we lost it right there. So after we lost it, we dumped another 16%. Then we lost it over here. %. And the similarity we had in this time that we didn't have right here is here we didn't have monthly bearish divergence. Here we did, and we lost 54%. So we would have to compare it similar to here. And we lost the 38.2% over there. And let's take 54%. Very interesting, very bias fitting. Weekly is also getting momentum to the downside, just about across into the bearish control zone with volatility pointed up. The hopium, though, is momentum is dropping below all of these points with price making a higher low, which gives you possible hidden bullish divergence. And on the weekly, to confirm your hidden bullish divergence, it's going to be a little more difficult than the 5-day and the 3-day. The number is at about $99,520, about $100,000. And this one, very, 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 very likely takes us to new all-time highs if that does confirm. But as of right now, it is in a breakdown posturing, and that divergence is just a possibility. Then if we look at the weekly jewel, the pink is crossing below the yellow, with the dark blue losing the bullish control zone. Mark that with a vertical line. That happened right there. Happened right there. No. Right there. That should be good enough. This is quite the sell signal on the jewel. 61.7%. I just find it really difficult to think that this is going to be one of those situations where the 5-day is a fake out to the downside before it plays out to the upside with all of these other signals that have come together with it. 51%.
You mean favoring the downside, right?
Yeah. I just find it so difficult that we go to new highs from here.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. We might create bonds and sell the gold.
Isn't and buy Bitcoin with it?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
100%.
This is a very beautiful correction. 69%.
Ooh. Oh, that was December of 2021. That was the good one.
About 30%. And from this current one, we've dropped about 18%. Not even the minimum. Minimum was 30%. Take that to 30%. Brings us very close to that 100. Takes us to 88.3% at around $66,000 to $67,000. Very interesting. So based off of that, also, I just find it very difficult to be mega bullish here. 2-day right now is giving us a nice bounce off of this 100 EMA, this CN EMA with momentum flipping up, getting very close to getting out of the bearish control zone. Volatility is currently flipping down, telling you this is likely going to be a lower high, or at the very least, it's going to be a lower high until you close over that 21 EMA. because they're very, very, very close to silver crossing to the downside. And as of right now, we're just perfectly rejecting them. Close over that 21 EMA at $93,500 though, which would also take you over that monthly median, and then you're likely to start to get very explosive. But as of right now, it's still in the posturing for bearishness, and maybe in the next, when does this close? 2 days and 8.5 hours max. So closes today. So in about 2 days, roughly, this is going to confirm as a silver cross to the downside as long as you're closing below 93.5. Right now, the jewel is flipping around on the 2-day as well as the 3-day and losing that sell signal within the bearish control zone. It's going to be the similar percentage moves that we just looked at on the 3-day. That also very likely takes us to all-time highs. But just an idea, as long as we're closing below 93.5. Daily is starting to look like quite the bear trap, where we corrected all the way down to the median, swept all of these lows, took all the liquidity, and then bounced right back up, still over that daily 9 EMA. Rejecting the 21 as of now, though, so the silver cross is still active to the downside since we're still rejecting that 21. Momentum is getting very close to the bearish bullish control zone. This would be the area for the bears to flip it down, with volatility still sideways. So we haven't quite gotten that volatility expansion momentum to the bullish control zone. If they are able to close us over this 21 EMA at 91,350, let's say 91.5 to be safe, which would be the number to confirm our divergences, that would likely get us into the bullish control zone and get a significant pump from there. 91.5 is going to be what it comes down to on this 3-day close. Four hours now also getting a pretty decent bounce. Currently rejecting this 100 EMA, but it's very close to it. It's at 90,259. We're like $50 below that right now, with momentum just getting out of the bearish control zone and volatility still contracting, still kind of in a bearish posturing. But if we close over this, not only this 100, I'd like to see a close of this 38.2 at 90,610. If that happens, then you likely get a move back to this 200 at around 93.8. Very close to that 93.5 number, just over that monthly median. This is going to be resistance on this first tap around at the very least. Even if we're bullish, probably going to reject the first time around. But if we close a 4 hour of this 200, it's going to be a significant change of pace from all of these previous moves, because this 200 has been resistance this whole way down. That's very likely going to end up confirming our 3-day, 5-day hidden bullish divergences. So if you're bearish, and even if we do see a move to the upside, you're going to want to see this 200 fail. That's assuming we close over the 38.2%. Ding!
Kablim!
Quarterly still has that hidden bullish divergence active, and it's going to be active as long as we're closing above 58,890. But also on the same hand, you're getting possible bearish divergence approaching. So once you invalidate that hidden bullish divergence, you're going to have bearish divergence on the quarterly, and you're going to have 3 drives of it, which usually gets you pretty significant moves to the downside. At very least, this 21 EMA at around $46,000. Monthly has that bearish divergence active as long as you're closing below 102,768. Let's say $769, because I like that number more. And that will invalidate your bearish divergence. The next move down on the bearish divergence is going to be if you get a tick below 78,300. Even a single dollar below 78,300, this next leg on divergence is going to be activated. Probably going to go down to the 21 at around $67,000. Very likely get a significant bounce from that 21 EMA, maybe all the way up to like $78,000, $80,000. Likely rejection from there down to the 55 at around $46,000. And right now we are getting the volatility that would support that type of move, because we are at 13% volatility. 2-week has 3 drives of bearish divergence active as long as you're closing below 99,520, same $100,000 level, and the continuation is going to be a tick below 78,300. That'll bring us down towards 55 at around $64,000, $65,000. Very similar area. Weekly has that possible hidden bullish divergence, going to be confirmed with the close above $99,520, with that volatility at many periods of 0%. So this is also, if you were to reclaim that $100,000 area, this volatility setup will send us towards 150 probably within the next 2 months. 5-day already mentioned it. 5-day has that volatility setup. We're going to take a look at it on the momentum chart with possible hidden bullish divergence confirmed above 95,150. And this 5-day RSI has it as well as the HPDR momentum. 3-day as well, possible hidden bullish divergence, just like the momentum chart. On the 3-day, same number, 95,150. That would give us RSI targets of the bullish control zone, which is right now at $122,000. On the 5-day, it would be $108,000, the current all-time highs. But since the volatility is coming from so low, probably the critical zone at 163. Those are just ideas, by the way. Gotta cover my ass. As long as we don't close below, close above 95,150 is just an idea. I get jumped, and then all of a sudden you hear them say, "Clip this man." 2-day also has that possible.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry. 2-day also has possible hidden bullish divergence because we're below all of these lows on momentum with price making a higher low. Number to confirm it, same 95,150. Daily, no possible bullish divergence. And no. Ding. All right. Quarterly, just like I mentioned before, we are getting that volatility set up with volatility dropping below 15% at 13% now. And when it starts expanding from 15%, you're going to get a move in the direction of stochastic momentum. And on the monthly, it's a 100% chance of getting that move. As of right now, a 100% hit rate of playing out to the direction that momentum is at. So once we start expanding, we have to look at direct momentum. Right now, momentum is down as long as we're below $102,000. So once this volatility starts expanding, we very likely get a very aggressive move to the downside as of now because the price is still below 102,000. And not only that, we flipped down this last month, confirming a local top on price action with making a lower high on momentum, giving us bearish divergence on the stochastic as well as the RSI. Making it very, very high probabilities in favor of the bulls right now based off of our high term divergences.
What do you mean, the bears?
I mean bears. Did I say bulls?
Yeah. It's okay. You've been bullish for too long. You need a little.
I'm not used to being bearish yet.
Exactly. You need time to adjust.
On the 2-week, we're getting momentum shifting down, confirming many drives of stochastic bearish divergence, and we're going to be flipped down as long as we're below 99.3, very close to the 99.5 number. Weekly is also pointed to the downside with a derp of death and many periods of 0% volatility. So as of right now, if volatility does expand, probabilities are to the downside because momentum is going to be down below $102,100. Come on. 5-day is now getting to the edge, very close to invalidating that space laser setup that we have with momentum expanding from 15%. Because it will flip up on this next close if we can close above $90,600. As of which makes it that in this next 4 days and 9 hours, bears are going to have to dump this. So the move probably happens within this next 5-day period. Two-day is now flipped to the upside on momentum with still volatility expansion, and we're going to be flipped up as long as we're above 82.5, and we're rejecting the bearish critical zone. Did we drop lower? No, we didn't confirm the divergence on the 2-day. RSI has it, stochastic doesn't, which makes it a little bit weaker since only RSI has it. Daily is now getting volatility contraction with momentum pointed to the upside, rejecting the critical zone, and we're going to be pointed up above $89,900, which we are just slightly below, like a ball sack here below that right now. And the 4 hours now contracting on volatility after many periods of 100%. We got our double extreme right there on this move to the upside, and momentum is now shifting down on the 4 hour, and we're going to be down below $90,500. A little bit lower. 2-hour is now getting volatility contraction as well, with momentum flipping up, and we're going to be pointed up above 87,350. Getting a little conflicting signals, to have to go a little lower. And now the hourly is very close to flipping down. This is what's going to tell us how the daily likely ends up. If this does flip down in the next 38 minutes below 89,800, 89,770, then likely that's going to bleed into the 4-hour continuing to stay to the downside, which then will likely flip daily to the downside, and it'll tell us that our lower high is very likely in at this point, and that's where we probably dump to $73,000. So now all of our higher time frames are getting in alignment to the bearish side on Bitcoin for the first time in the longest time. We are confirming bearish divergence on the RSI and stochastic on the monthly. We have possible bearish divergence on the quarterly, which the monthly likely bleeds into, especially since monthly has that volatility setup. 2-week has many drives of bearish divergence confirmed on the RSI and the stochastic. 5-day right now, it does have confirmed bearish divergence, and the 3-day has confirmed bearish divergence. But both of those with the weekly have possible hidden bullish divergence. On the weekly, to confirm the hidden bullish divergence, you'd have to close over 99,500. And then on the 3-day and the 2-day, you'd have to close over 95,150. And if that does happen, then those volatility setups likely do happen to the upside, and you'd probably go rather quickly to somewhere around 130 to 150. Very big if. You got to close over that 99.5 on the 3-day and the 5-day. As of right now,
today, right?
Yeah. And then,
Now
if the
happen.
pivot changes, after today's close, then it goes up, that's bearish.
Okay.
So you got to close over that number today, and then hopefully the pivot. If you don't, hopefully the pivot doesn't change. But as of right now, it does look like the daily is about to flip back down. If you look at the 4-hour, that's already flipped down, and the 2-hour is about to flip down, and the 1-hour is flipping down. Kind of looks like the lower high currently is in, and that we won't get that close today over 95,150. And it kind of looks like the higher time frames are going to remain in control, and bears are going to stay dominant.
That would be awesome because my order did fill. So
yeah, I saw that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll be taking that. I'm already in the green, so I'm joining you, Alex, on this.
Already spending it.
Good luck. That's all I'll say. This is like a person whipping themselves every single day and enjoying it. It's absolutely terrible. But let's see. I really like Farn's analysis because I agree with him. I mean, I do think today we're going to see some kind of major move. And that's just simply based off of how ES1 closed yesterday. You know, we were talking about this positioning, which was we were holding that daily SMA 200. And something to note is this is a pretty big region. Whenever we get below it, we end up dumping, and then often on those reclaims mark major lows, essentially, for ES1. But you also get major moves when you start really losing and rejecting it. So why today am I looking for potentially a nice move up or down? Well, you know, if bears are going to hold and take control here and actually move us down, what we want to see is this SMA 200 to actually reject today. What we don't want is this to turn into an SFP, because in doing so, that would give us the next move at least to the daily EMA 9. At that point, you're already testing then the last lower high. And then breaking that lower high would give us that next move to that EMA 100. Reclaiming the EMA 100 on the daily would mean that this is a major low, and this SFP was the long signal, essentially. But until that occurs, what do we have? Well, we've lost major support. The last, 3 days, we were getting bounces from that until yesterday. We essentially fell through that, closed below, rallied up, and now we're rejecting. So we want to see bears take control here. It's very similar to Bitcoin, in my opinion. And why am I paying attention to ES1? Well, if this is going to start nuking, in my opinion, then that has, implications for Bitcoin, specifically on where we're at on the crypto markets currently. If we're losing the daily SMA 200, ES1's in a daily downtrend, this has major implications for us coming all the way back down at minimum to here, right at 5,446. But most likely we'll probably go and test the 5,300. So you can just look at this as a major range where we potentially could go. And, people look at this and they'll say, oh, no, we're in a raging bull market. That just can't happen. There's no way you can dump 5%. We've already dumped almost 10% from the high. And I'll say, okay, but the weekly is kind of telling us a different story. The weekly here, when we looked at this yesterday, we were even lower on volatility. So this is expanding while price is going down. That's something we should all mentally know, because this is giving us a major weekly setup that we haven't had since September of 2017, which resulted in a parabolic move to the upside for ES1. Now, on the flip side, we're getting, and why I'm looking at this setup is because we were at extreme lows. Now, we can also look at other setups where we went under 15%. This was an upside move. And then here, this is, I guess.
Wait, am I crazy or there's, oh no, because this is volatility. Never mind. It looks like in every higher high, volatility did a higher low. And it certainly did. It's volatility, not got it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and what I'm mainly watching here for the difference between all of these is just the extreme lows. But I mean, we have had setups before. So, this one as well was to the upside. Let me just see really fast how much the move that was. Oh gosh. 9%. Remember, this is like stocks, so that's pretty good.
It's an index, which is crazy.
Another move to the upside, so I just added on to this one. So that was just, from this one to the top of here, it was over 9%, insane. And then even here, I mean, from the expansion here, so that's 3 setups to the upside we had in this kind of range here in 2024. This was actually the last downside one, so let's check that one out. But again, the difference is no extreme lows here. 5% down, but then it flipped to bull's favor, and from that point we rallied up 27%, 20 to 27%. So what's the point I'm trying to bring here is we haven't really had a lot of these fire to the downside. The last major one I can at least bring up is this that occurred in the bear market of 2022. Upon expansion, that gave us a 19% move. So we do have bearish momentum here, and we need to be very cautious because the weekly is losing the EMA 34. That gives us the next technical target up to the EMA 100, which is right around the $5,300, right at the mark I think we would go to. But also, I mean, this has been solid support. We've been in a solid weekly uptrend that's now down. You need to be gauging into next week. If we lose the EMA 34, watch how low this goes. Easily could rally up, test either the 34 or the 21, and then get the move, form the weekly lower high, and then this causes next week to break us down if we don't already. But this is concerning to me, and this is what I was trying to bring home yesterday, or 2 days ago, which was, if this is bearish, which, anytime I was kind of getting a little nervous on my short, I looked at ES1, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is bearish as hell. Never mind. Like, this should go down. We see here, even right now, we're at the 2-day EMA 100. It's looking kind of weak, though. And even that SMA 200 is right at around that $5,300 mark. It's a pretty impressive drop from that point. And I bet you that if this does start breaking down and taking us to that, $54 to $5,300, that probably leads to Bitcoin's capitulation scenario. I mean, this was just in a clean uptrend. It's breaking the uptrend. We're now in a downtrend. The weekly shifted down while giving us a weekly setup that we haven't had since 2017. Got to be cautious here. Can even see the 2-week is giving us a setup. Now at the 21, so it just ties into kind of what we said in a lower time frame. This is an important zone to get a bounce, but we're not. And that already would have been related with the daily SMA 200. We get more confluence of that getting lost on this 2-week closing negatively. What we see is the EMA 34 is, at 5,500. So a slightly, a little above that first support zone at 5,459. But there's nothing that says that we can't wick below here. This causes a spring up, and then we move. But this is interesting because, I mean, even ES1 here is giving us a pretty big setup. Last occurrence was here. Yeah, it was to the upside. Dirty, but it was to the upside. I guess it wasn't even that dirty. I shouldn't say that because look at it, just went straight up. And this was 14, almost 15% straight up, literally 3, 6, 7, 9. 9 2-week candles of just up only. or I guess 7 minus this one, so 7. Yeah. Huh. It's pretty impressive. So, I mean, we're getting pretty big moves or big setups right now. I don't find it, and this is what I was talking about. If any of you guys remember, I was saying, Bitcoin's looking very bearish. This could be a very nice opportunity for shorts. Unfortunately for us in the academy, our shorts got front ran here. It was very disappointing. At this point, I wanted, once we lost that daily 9, that was my sign because of just how NVIDIA looked, of course. I wanted to get a short right at 6,090 for the academy. As you can see, that really would have printed well, but at least we had the right idea. And so Bitcoin being bearish often tells me, the highest, riskiest assets top first, and they often bottom first. And Bitcoin looked really bad compared to stocks. I mean, it just looked terrible, while stocks were still looking okay. But now we're getting the thing where stocks are looking terrible, Bitcoin's looking terrible. And this, honestly, the indication was NVIDIA, just in my opinion. This really told us, yeah, this is bad. We should be bearish. And this gave me more conviction on my Bitcoin idea. So I said, once we reclaimed this SMA 200, we were expecting a move up, of course. We talked about just the fact that we even lost it made me extremely concerned. And so, this is kind of my indicator for risk on for stocks. And it's honestly been a great indicator. I mean, how has that been for the last, years since 2023? Well, it's been in a raging bull market. Risk on has been doing fabulous. So we have to be cautious here of NVIDIA, in confluence to stocks. Because I'm just seeing a lot of people not talk about stocks, which is funny because ES1 is looking absolutely deathly to me right now. This could actually, unfortunately, this could be an easy short opportunity. Your invalidation here would be any reclaim of this SMA 200 you cut. Any rally up to this SMA 200, you short into it. Your target would just simply be 5,456, just to be honest and frank, honest. So that's ES1. Let's just not see what the HPDR says, because maybe we're extremely bullish. Maybe I'm wrong. So let's see. Nope. So the weekly is possibly breaking down now. This gives me more confidence of this HBDR actually breaking out and giving us that breakdown setup. And what you'll notice is it's even expanding now. This was at 7%. It's at 9.52. Insane. And this is going to be a really important thing for today because we're getting this weekly close. If today closes above 15% while we're losing the 34, you have max confirmation of this breakdown occurring. That gives me max confidence of my Bitcoin short printing massively. What we see is, that EMA 9 on the weekly was very important. Stocks are easy because often you get follow through with these moving averages more than Bitcoin, right? Reclaimed the EMA 9, back tested it with the median, nice move up. Back tested it, nice move up. Wasn't really until you started to lose it here, we started to reject down, and now you're nuking. So, if you're a Bitcoin bull, I understand the conference and Trump's bullish on crypto and yada, yada, yada. But on a TA standpoint, you have to be really concerned here because of just where we're at overall. We've had an epic rally for years. A little move down to the 5,400 to 5,300 really isn't the most absurd, especially when you start seeing that EMA 34 getting lost in the weekly. It's not like I'm just speaking, oh, I hope this happens. No, this would give us a technical target to the EMA 100 on the weekly if we close today under 5,820, with possibly now into next week volatility expanding in favor of bears. So, that's why I've just been very aggressive on shorting Bitcoin. It's been very hard because why? Markets know that there's a major move coming and they don't want us to win. This is also what I was talking about last stream. Often before these major 5-day setups, or specifically, I like the weekly representing this, for these weekly setups on Bitcoin really start to fire off, you get this absolutely just terrible market of max chop, right? It's like shorts were extremely happy, but then you'd rally up, take the shorts out, nuke down, shorts are happy, real move up. Here, before we had the mega move up, the Hamas move in October, same thing. Longs are happy, nukes, shorts are horny, longs are happy, nuke, shorts are horny, real move up. I mean, it's the same thing. And even kind of in this scenario too, it's like you kind of just see it. It's like we just had these very aggressive, very, very aggressive moves to resistance, support. But the idea behind this short and the idea behind where the market is now is I really believe we're going to get something like this, where it's like once you're positioned, like, right, once you were like aggressively, let's use this example here. Once you were aggressively shorting in 2022 here, like let's say you were just max shorting this just like now. Once we started to get follow through, specifically on the weekly, it just was an easy ride down where you were printing every single week. That's kind of like where when you get these 5-day and weekly setups, if you can really catch it, not gamble, but catch it, use statistics, use what you have to your advantage and position yourself, you can honestly make so much money in a time span of like a month or two. It's like what other markets can give you setups where it's like, if you play it right, you can make 30 to 50, $80,000 in 2 months.
Sure.
Like an 80 to 85% chance. That's absolutely absurd. And that's why like we're just laser focused right now. But I will say we haven't flip-flopped yet at all, and like that would be the difference is here. If like every time we rally up, oh no, now we need a max long, and that's like what people are doing, and that's what causes this chop. As long as the statistics, and yesterday we got the 5-day close and that did move the pivot up. Yes, it's very close to price right now, which is telling me we do need to see some kind of follow through here soon. We don't want to see the EMA 34 hold here. We don't want to see a push up. We just want to start seeing this start going down, rejecting what was major support at 91K, an area we've been talking about. While everyone gets super bullish here, we're just in the process of breaking down. You see this massive inefficiency. This took Bitcoin no effort at all to get from 69,000 all the way up to 90s. It can be this way, but to the downside, where it just takes no effort to get down to here. And then here will be a big spot. What you'll notice the 5-day EMA 100, very much like what we saw in the weekly with ES1. We start losing this 5-day EMA 34, you'll get a technical target to the EMA 100. Which coincidentally lines up right around, our target that we've psychopathically keep talking about, but that's just how it is. And you just have to be patient, and while we are in a downtrend on the 5-day, it's going to just take time. So, the 5-day now is still in expansion posturing and we're still expanding. This didn't like curve down into yesterday's close with the pivot moving, with price closing above the pivot. No, instead it's still moving up. So, what occurred last night? Let's get like more lower time frame now that we have the more picture, like the bigger picture. Well, last night was amazing. I mean, I was quite happy. I was up like maybe $20,000, $18,000 in a matter of an hour or two. Eating tacos, thinking, all right, cool, finally, like we get follow through. And it was based off of Trump, or it was on the backs of Trump just tweeting out randomly, oh yeah, I'm signing the executive order on the strategic reserve. You see everyone on crypto Twitter and the markets were kind of hyping that up. Like we're going to get a major announcement. He's going to talk about a big buy. He's going to then sign it. I guarantee markets were not expecting that tweet yesterday because I wasn't expecting. I was like, wait, damn, is that it? And then we just kind of nuked. I still think we're experiencing the buy the rumor, sell the news, specifically with the conference tonight. So you're going to hear a lot of bullhopium talking about, well, the conference, the tailwinds are there. We're going up. The conference, the biggest,
Alex, let me tell you something. If you think that the Bitcoin SVR is bad news just because it will only contain seized Bitcoin, then you're bad at reading the market, of course, and comprehending what you're reading. Okay, so sell me your Bitcoin. Sell it to me. I know it's been being sold already, but sell me more.
Sorry, Alex. Scott just had.
No, it's okay. Scott, I understand you're passionate, but that's the problem here. Bulls are too passionate because of the market. Market makes you complacent to moves that just you get used to that. Like 2 years of up only, 2.5 years of up only makes you complacent. Each time we've had a 5-day setup, you blindly just max long and then close the app. You will print a 30% setup. It's not always going to be like that though. And I don't find it a coincidence that the monthly is gearing up. Right, we saw into this month, a monthly open, volatility resetting on the index, giving us a setup now. This is major. Each time has resulted in a major move on Bitcoin each and every time. Here, here, here. So you can just visually see that. We now have that set up. We have bearish divergence. We have, Jewel weekly sell signal. It's just like you have to be kind of like bears are setting this up, but you're going to get a lot of chop before you get massive follow through, in my opinion. So what we had last night was annoying because, something we were talking about, it's still, even with volatility and my bias and whatnot, we still have to stick to the levels. And that is still these two levels here, the daily EMA 200 and the SMA 200. Now, I was very happy to see price was moving down below it, but, it still held as support. And we got that epic rally up. And, any aggressive short that shorted into that dump definitely got, diddied, I'll say. So, that is what caused the bounce, in my opinion. So this can tell me, or at least I can decipher that this level here is a very important level for Bitcoin. We start losing this on a daily close. Yes, we're probably going to get a bounce from the SMA 200, but that bounce could take us to the EMA 200, and then I'd want to see a rejection there. What I don't want is this. Lose it, go to the SMA 200, nuke, don't lose the SMA 200, slowly move up. That's what I don't want. What I want is, okay, the objective now for us is we want to start seeing bears take control here into today. That way we have no risk of ES1 reclaiming that SMA 200, and the 3-day today can close under the pivot, which is at 90,500, which granted we're very close to that right now. We want to start seeing that. Whenever you start seeing us like this close to a pivot, what's either going to happen on the close is into the close, you're either going to start rallying up and then we're going to reclaim that, and then price into the open of that 3 days is going to start moving up because we flipped the pivot up, in my opinion. Or you're going to start seeing us really start moving down harshly into the close. Once we close under the pivot, it's going to then nuke price, similar to what we saw into the 5-day yesterday. Very similar, basically the exact same thing. So the EMA 200 is a very, very, very important spot for all of us that's short. We still, have this zone here. And even if you don't like moving averages, that's perfectly fine. I think people should use them. But even if you don't, that's fine, because even on the last stream, we were talking about that 86.5 level being extremely important for Bitcoin to lose. That would give us the next target being 73 to 69,000. So, it makes sense. We got a bounce, obviously. I just didn't think it was going to be that big. But when we start looking at the lower time frames, did anything really change on my point of view on that rally? No. Yes, we dumped, but we still we still closed below all the major moving averages. Yes, we've rallied, but we, again, still closed under all the major moving averages. And then, yes, again, we rallied, but in this rally, we hit, again, 91K, which is an area we've talked about being a major point for Bitcoin. But also, we hit the 4-hour EMA 100.
Check out the 8-hour with your HPDR. You'll like that.
Let's see this. Oh, and I'm already liking this candle too. Nice little rejection. Ideally, we can lose this median, which again is, well, no, it's not close to my low, but it's at 87,800. So we want to mentally note that. Let me just check on the index. 88K. So it's similar. Losing that then we'd be able to go back to the 86.5s. We'd then be printing again. I do think if we end up revisiting this, I don't think this is going to hold anymore. And you have to really look at it like on the daily view, right? If we end up coming all the way back down to this EMA 100 after this epic rally, this is going to look like a massive trap for bulls, in my opinion. Because what has been the flavor of this cycle? Well, the flavor of this cycle has been, let's get these liquidity grabs and then let's max long. Oh, look, max long. Oh, that worked. Max long. That worked. Max long. That worked. Max long. That worked even. Max long. That printed. Max long. Do you see the point of like sometimes this complacency, if you don't identify this specifically, that we are in the most bearish time in Bitcoin's, in my opinion, we're in the most bearish environment for Bitcoin right now that we've ever been this entire bull market, simply because of the monthly. And so we have to then look at all of these as what was occurring before that was the fact. And, bulls are really used to just kind of degenning when we start moving up and forming these wicks because it works. But I do think that this isn't going to work too much more. And I'll be wrong. We'll know today, especially if this like flips green and we start moving up and we start breaking this daily EMA 100. Yeah, I'll be wrong and whatever. But until then, I'm looking at a lot of people get pretty happy about Bitcoin bouncing, and it was a pretty epic bounce, I will say. I mean, it definitely is making shorts nervous, but I'm still looking at this as just breaking down, and I want to see today, specifically with the 3-day, I want to start seeing this daily go back to the EMA 100. I would like to see today this lose the EMA 100. That would really start making me feel good. But remember, we can't forget the SMA 200. So I have to look at this as like a range. And if we start losing the EMA 100, we'll go to the SMA 200. And right around the SMA 200 is right around the monthly EMA 9, which we can use the monthly as confluence because it's kind of like the same idea. If we start going back down, churning this monthly that got a really nice bounce from the monthly 9, was really green, all the way red, and we're testing again the monthly 9. I looked at this reaction of the monthly 9 actually quite bearish because what we had into this monthly open was a move down. We hit the monthly 9. You have to expect a reaction at the monthly 9. It's been a reaction point this entire bull market. But remember, we are the most bearish we've ever been into this month. So what has been generally working, which is blindly longing the monthly 9, catching that major bottom, I don't think is going to work. And so what we had into this monthly open was a nuke down. We hit the monthly 9, amazing spring up. I mean, we pumped insanely up. We pumped 11% up from that point. I said this a lot on Monday too, or Wednesday. My apologies. What I didn't want to see is into this monthly was a move down, or a move up, because it would just leave this gap. And then once we finally got the nuke, you'd have to be cautious of us getting a major bounce here, like what we already did, though. So, you have to think of it like Bears already got that done. We already got the obvious reaction from the monthly 9. So if we end up coming back down here, very good chance we're going to see a capitulation. Next target for me would be right at that EMA 21. And what you'll notice, you're getting a lot of confluence around 73.7 and 67,000 being a major point that you should be probably taking profits on all shorts, not flipping long, not reshorting, but just waiting, in my opinion, because this could make for a very easy long trigger, especially if we're able to catch a short down here. And that also gives us confluence of the HBDR because, we don't just want to trade maybe off meme lines. I mean, I do kind of, but whatever. And you can see even we're rejecting the 38.2%. Next target would be that monthly median. And what we'll even see on, like, let's say the index is we're rejecting the median here. The 38.2% is right around that EMA 21. So maybe the monthly capitulates. Maybe we actually break under that 21, lose the 69K, and wick down. That would take a lot of people out. Maybe then we find a capitulation bottom right around the 38.2. Because what I'm going to probably see is a lot of people scale longs at 69K. And what's probably going to happen is they're going to front run the 21. And what probably could happen, most likely, because I've seen this before, is we're going to just dump through. Shorts are going to start really aping because we're losing the 69,000. And then at this point, we could see a major bounce. The monthly doesn't close under 69K, and then we could start moving up to the monthly 9. Keep in mind, from this point, even from the 21 to the monthly 9, that is still a 23% move. And what you'll notice is, these moves back to the monthly 21, monthly 9 are very tradable moves. But what they do is they get everyone bullish again. If Bitcoin collapses and starts really bouncing from here, everyone's going to become very bullish once Bitcoin's up 23% from the lows. I promise you. And then what's going to happen is we're going to come to this point on stream. We're going to be like, oh, well, we're just now at the monthly 9. Well, his major support should be flipped into major resistance, and then we'll have to gauge. So that's why I'm really liking this environment, because if we gauge these areas, this volatility is absolutely insane. Like catching 30% moves down, 20% moves up can really make you life-changing money. For now, though, I'm still very bearish, and today is going to be a very telling day, just like yesterday was. I want to start seeing bears really start moving us up. Yes, we had a stupid rally up. We finally got the 4-hour EMA 100. Like it's resistance. It's been solid resistance. And don't get it twisted. The move down we had last night was caused because of the 4-hour EMA 100 rejecting here. And I talked about this setup here. It's like anytime that you reclaim the 4-hour EMA 100, lose it, reject it, you generally dump. I mean, that's just kind of what I've noticed in this range here. Reclaim it, dump, retest it, and then you end up going lower. Even here, when we were last stream, we reclaimed it, we lost it on stream, rallied up, tested it, dumped. And then so here too, once you reclaim above that, you generally move up. So that's why it's kind of like good to look at this, but we lost it. And it's so easy because we put in a nice shooting star here on the 4-hour, which made it easy to short because, you know, your stop loss would just be the top of this wick. But we've been solidly rejecting it. I mean, we rallied up, rejected, and then last night we had that major move down. So there's no difference here in what happened last night. And now it's not like bulls have the upper hand now. No. It just kind of did put in a very shallow lower high, if you can even see that, right? We didn't take out this high, and this is looking like a lower high. Major volatility, but I mean, just per the trend, this is what should happen. So
very easy validation. You did bring when you brought this up in the morning, I was like, I'm taking this one.
So yeah, exactly. What I liked about your short was if you gauge the 12-hour, it was entry. Let me see here, 12-hour. Let me check this chart here. Because you shorted at 90,500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I liked about your entry there was it was in confluence of the 12-hour EMA 34, and it made sense. Like we right here, this is like was a big point. Like I believe if we had reclaimed that 12-hour EMA 9, bulls would have been extremely green right now, in my opinion. But it's like what I always tell everyone here: when you get these epic rallies up, and you ever so slightly almost, but you don't like reclaim the 12-hour 9. I have to look at this as like very predatory to bulls. And then of course, right, you're gonna get the wick up, like of course, but not taking out this high was key. I wanted to see price stop at the EMA 34. That's why I was like, okay, if we do end up going to 90,500, that is a logical short to me because we have that EMA 34 right there, and we should technically retest that since it's been solid resistance so far. And that happened. And that's why I said I want a rejection of the 4-hour EMA 100 leading to a nasty 12-hour candle, which is now kind of occurring. And so this is going to possibly lead us to a very bearish close today, which gives us a lot of confluence of our 3-day analysis and also our ES1 analysis. Ideally, we see some kind of like capitulation nuke today, in my opinion.
You're 5 minutes away from closing this candle, the 8-hour, the 4-hour, not entirely sure. I don't think the 12-hour. No.
So we're gonna then lose the 4-hour pivot then, I believe, potentially. What I would like on this 4-hour, which would make it easier for me, is just we can lose that EMA 34. Would greatly increase the chance of this being the next major lower high, which means to get that lower low, you'd have to break 84,600. Which means we'd probably go to that daily SMA 200, which is sitting right around 81Ks, I believe, 83s. Well, you know, right around the monthly 9 SMA 200, 81 to 83. But then at that point, I do think if we visit this, as soon as we take out this wick low, I do believe we're going to capitulate, just in my opinion. I do think it either will be like we're going to either capitulate and it's going to take out this low and we're going to front run 73, or we're truly just going to capitulate, you know, and do something not like this, but I'll actually draw. Like it's either going to do like we're going to front run this. That's why we have to be very, very, very like careful here. Once we do start breaking this low, it's like once we start taking out 78s, I want to start getting the trigger finger to start scaling out of shorts because it literally could mean we take out the low and then we spring up. Boom, we got our low. Bears got their thing, but it just didn't sustain anything. Or what could happen is, you know, we today dump, we lose the SMA 200. Tomorrow we rally up. Weekend trading gets everyone. We reject here. Often these 5-day really start moving on the weekend. We then capitulate and that takes us down. I don't think we're going to stop at 69s. I think everyone's going to start scaling longs. I'll even consider it. We'll get a little bounce up, of course. come down, quickly, harshly move down to like 63s. At this point, everyone longing here is going to be like, yeah, fuck Bitcoin. I need to short this. We're losing the 2021 cycle high. But we'll know that Bitcoin is simply just testing per the HPDR, which is the next level is right around the EMA 21. I do believe the bearish divergence target would be right around the EMA 21. And this is where I'd want to start getting the Academy long for that mean reversion bounce, because I do think we can easily get a move back up to the monthly 9, which is definitely a tradable bounce. So, that, and then, easily can do this. And then I do think that's where we can start doing this for a very long time. And then, see, like for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
Like
a year, 2 years. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this would make a lot of sense to me. We don't ever touch these lows. We always kind of bait shorts for this major gap down. And then it's just like almost a year and a half of just consolidation. And then we can maybe make the move up. And then again, 69K, same criteria as here, will be the big test. We either very harshly reject here or reclaim it, and boom, we can move up. And this was like a monthly higher low, but obviously we can't break. I think it was 50K. Yeah, 50K. So yeah, I mean, that's Bitcoin. I'm just trying to dissect this because I know there's just like a lot of panic. I know, like I have even like big traders that I follow and talk to are like what's going on? Like I don't even know. And to me, it just seems very simple right now. It's just what happened this week was just max chop because of the conference and because of just the speculation of the strategic reserve. But that's already done. There's no talks about buying Bitcoin. There's just talks of we need to figure out how we're going to potentially buy more Bitcoin. But there's no like we're going to buy Bitcoin and this is how we're going to do a plan. Now that could change tonight, so we'll see. But honestly, I feel like Trump's going to just rift himself, talk about how he did it. We're not going to sell Bitcoin, how past administrations were stupid, and the war against Bitcoin cost the taxpayers $16 billion, yada, yada. This is a new age for Bitcoin. We're going to be like the, kind of like the beacon. And then I think that's going to be it. They're going to do a dinner. And then I just think that, like, I don't think he's going to announce, oh yeah, we're going to buy $100 billion of Bitcoin at this conference. I just
first of all, can I just say too, the first and the only thing Trump is doing with Elon is cutting spending. Why would we create more money out of nowhere to buy Bitcoin? I mean, and it says everywhere that they won't, and they said it from day one. I think that's just a narrative of the Mr. Milkers of the world.
I was promised that they would use the Doge money to buy more Bitcoin.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like, why would Trump announce this last night? I think it's because he's just gearing up for an easy speech into the conference, just TBH. Like, I just think like he did what he did last night. So that way into this conference, all those people that paid him, everyone that's there, everyone that's hyping this up now, the degen's betting into it. I just think like he's
I'm heading off to my flight.
All right, brother. Safe flight.
Enjoy safe flight.
I just think Trump gave himself a very easy speech, and that's all it is. And I think the only hopium now for bulls today is the speech. But then we have Powell today, and I honestly don't think Powell is going to be too dovish, in my opinion. I mean, the data we've had so far isn't too welcoming. I just don't think he's going to be extremely dovish here. I think he's just going to stay the course, talk about how they're going to just still have the 2% goal. And that's it. I just think they're going to be restricted still until 2%. So, yeah. So, I mean, even today, we'll just have to watch closely on Bitcoin. We have Powell speaking, and I think like an hour and a half.
I was going to ask you when. That's interesting because, I mean, the revision of the GDP from 2.5% to minus 3%, it's
and that's just terrible. Yeah. I mean,
I actually don't understand why no one is reacting to that and no one's talking about that. That's insane, no? That is the biggest revision in history, but beyond the COVID.
No, they just scoffed at it because they say, oh, it's Biden's data. But like, I'm sitting there like, are we like actually itching towards a major recession? And everyone's just like kind of blindsided by fake magic internet coins. While like stocks are now looking like they're on the verge of capitulation. That's kind of where we're at. So like that's Bitcoin. Let me just very quickly, let's look at tether dominance. Okay, cool.
You
So
got
we
your
were
8-hour and your 4-hour close, and it's interesting.
actually I'm gonna text Farn too. I wonder what the 4-hour pivot went to. Let me just see. I'll pull a text back because I'm interested. That's why I want to buy that indicator, because I just think it's one of the best indicators. It's only like $300.
The stochastic or the
The
right?
pivots,
Yeah.
the pivots, yeah. Okay, so we can actually, this is a tradable thing. So right now on Bitcoin, we put in a massive 4-hour shooting star. So it's the same here, and this is very easy because with shooting stars, it makes sense. You just don't want this wick high to get taken out, and it makes sense because of our analysis. We're betting that this is now the next major lower high. So then, right, we don't want this high to get taken out. Getting confluence of the idea with this 4-hour shooting star, and we've lost all the major moving averages, and we even made it easy for me because we lost the EMA 34. Watch a rally up to the EMA 9 on Bitcoin, 88.8. And I'd want to see a rejection there. Your stop loss, if you take this, can just simply be 81.2. If anyone's watching and they're not positioned. Now, we very well could possibly, maybe because of volatility, get a move up to the EMA 100. But that's why I said I want the EMA 34 to get lost, because the fact that we lost that, to me, greatly to me dictates that we're probably going to just reject at the 9 and not go to the EMA 100, in my opinion. But now everyone who's not short has an easy invalidation. Very easy invalidation to short, which is simply just playing 4-hour trend, playing candlestick theory, and you easily could take that to 86.5 or be degenerate with me and target 73s to 69s. That seems logical to me. And remember, our objective is the daily EMA 200 getting lost, 86,500 getting lost. It's a major point for Bitcoin. Because you can see here, once we start losing 86.5, dump. 86.5 loss, dump. But the difference is we're just not getting follow through. So what would be really nice is today we just dump. Tomorrow get that rally up, reject, and then boom. That would be really nice into the weekend. Let me
8-hour.
Oh yeah, 8-hour. Yeah,
8-hour is actually giving you everything you're talking about. Just like put the HPDR on.
Yeah, this is actually nice too. I like
the
8-hour.
median went up.
4-hour. Yeah, and the median even went up. You see it went up to 885. Easily can go up to like 888, maybe 89 for that EMA 34. But even here, you see that 8-hour evening star. Next technical target would be right at 86,000. So again, good confluence of this. And it's nice that the median got lost here. So hopefully we can safely say, that the 4-hour pivot now went to 90,400. So yeah, it did move up. So that's good. That's good news to us, actually. And even here, the 4-hour is still in the breakdown posturing with the 38.2% getting lost. And what you'll notice is the EMA 100 sitting right around the 38.2%. So that just tells me that, the 4-hour EMA 100 is very important for Bitcoin right now. And it's just always funny when people dog on lower time frame trading, because it just really can make it like pretty easy to understand where you're wrong. So that's Bitcoin. Bears are gaining more control here. All the lower time frame pivots are down, and to me, that's exactly what we'd want to see for a daily nuke, in my opinion, for like a bearish day today. What we don't want is like the 4-hour pivot going up. The moving average is holding, the hourly flipping up, the 6-hour flipping up, the 8-hour. No, it's like we need all these pivots to move down for the move to happen. And so for that now to occur greatly increases my chances, at least of us going to 86.5, possibly before today's close, which we can decipher that being probably going to come down to the EMA 200, possibly. So let's look at tether dominance now. So tether dominance is interesting because on the Discord at 1 or 2 a.m., because I'm a degenerate, I was talking about how the SMA 200 was a major spot, and we need to start seeing a bounce here, a nice little divergence in price, move down, test the EMA 21, SMA 200, would make a lot of sense to get a bounce. We did, and we can even see bulls got a really nice reaction there. Now, we had to move up to the daily median and rejected. Without the daily median, though, you would have already been cautious of this 5.2%. It's been a big zone for tether dominance. You know, essentially, whenever we reclaim above 5.2%, this is giving bulls the maximum opportunity to move this up. If you can see here, 5.2% held beautifully here. And then from that point, we moved up 23%. Here it got reclaimed, 5.2% got reclaimed, and then we moved up 28%. Here we can see 5.28 got reclaimed, moved up 10%. And so the point I'm trying to show is that this is a big spot. I mean, even here, one thing I want to note is really, I mean, through this whole bull market, you've been solidly just down. Like you haven't even come close to this testing the 5.2%. I mean, since we lost in November of 2024, I mean, it's just over a year. We haven't even come close to it up until now. So you have to just be really cautious here. We want this daily 9 to get reclaimed now. So like ideally, that's kind of what we want for today. Daily 9 to get reclaimed. See the 4-hour. 4-hour looks good. Possible hammerhead of, you know, giving us confluence of that short idea. Would want to see here a move back down to the EMA 9, get a bounce, and then that way we can make our way up closer to the 5%. You know, and again, that 5.25% will be very key here. If tether dominance starts losing, let's say 4.86% on a 4-hour close, it's going to greatly increase the chances of us going down to the 4.69%. At that point, the 4.69% is going to be the last stand there. That's where I'm going to need to see a bounce, or I may be wrong on this big short. But until then, I mean, this is just slowly itching and giving bulls the momentum they need. Because even here we see the weekly still in that breakout posturing. Curious to see what the HPDR says into this week. And yeah, we even see that in 2 days. This is going to confirm that we are breaking out in the weekly with volatility expanding. This has been a scenario we've been waiting patiently for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So hopefully now we can maybe get it in 2 days. We want tether dominance to close above 4.81%. If we can, then this could easily give us a shallow pullback test and then nice move. And, you know, this closes on Sunday. So this could give us good confluence of a major move down into next week, possibly could start into the weekend. I'll check the 2-week. Okay, resetting. So nothing too much to talk about. You get confluence of the 5.25% being a major spot for this chart because of just simply where the 38.2% is on the 2-week. Big moves occur when you lose the 38.2%, and big moves occur when you break out. But where are we broken out? Let me see that actually. Broke down, we see that. And that from the breakdown here gave us a 48% move. Didn't break out here, rejected. Nope. Slightly here, but this was a failed one. Moved up 30% though. That's interesting in 1 2-week candle. But then it ended up dumping 21% after. Okay, so that for now is the only one I can see. Here's one actually. 44%, interesting. So that's 2. Another failed one here. But that was another 30% move. That's interesting because that kind of lines up with the 5-day. So what, we're at 3 now in the history of tether dominance. And then here, 4. So what do we notice about all these though? They're all over 30%. That's interesting. So of course we're going to get a rejection where we did. Of course we are, because, you know, it's a big spot. But this is like, I mean, I guess we can look at this like once we really start closing the 2-week or even a monthly above 5.2, 5.3, we'll call it. That could be our sign of the bear market starting for cryptos. Because remember, it's like that was a 30 to 60% move up on tether dominance. That's absurd. And that actually lines up nicely with the weekly setup. We're still brewing on Bitcoin. It's like people are like, well, the 5-day, I mean, once that's done, we're going to move up. But what if the 5-day just makes the weekly fire off? Now, what if the weekly just makes the monthly fire off? Big brain stuff. Let's see, though. 30% move up. So it would take you right above that 6.55%. More like 60% move up is right around 8%. Last time we tested that 8% was the bear market of 2022. And it's funny because we bottomed out here on tether dominance. I'll throw the rainbow chart off so we can see it better. We bottomed out right here, the same exact spot on tether dominance. Like if I just extend this line here for this range, you can just see like we caught a major rejection down, found a really nice bottom here. And then from this point though, is when, in my opinion, the real move started. And this is really what sparked tether dominance moving up 150%. The same
that's
level.
like the expansion zone.
Yeah, the same exact level that we're moving up. And we're already up 46% now from the wick high, of course. But you really have to, I don't know, you have to really be questioning this if the bull market's on. And if we don't end up rallying within the next week, I mean, it's really to me, it's going to look like we're in a bear market. And it's just funny because what you'll see is Liberty or Trump company that's buying crypto, their biggest position is Ethereum. But if we're in a bear market now, that just means ETH's been in a bear market for like months now. So it's just like you don't buy, if you're smart money, you don't buy things in a bear market when like Bitcoin's freshly going into a bear market. That just seems like really stupid to me. Because what I've seen on ETH is like that shit can go to $500, and like I don't think Trump's gonna be too happy buying Ethereum at like 3,000 to like 2,500, and it goes to 500. That just make him look stupid. So yeah, who knows? That's basically all I got though. I'll look at Bitcoin dominance because why not? Curious to see. And what we see is, would you look at that? You know, it's like almost as if we had a weekly trend shift. We were gauging the higher low. The higher lows here like to be formed at that weekly 9. So we need to be looking at this as potentially forming the next major higher low there. I thought we'd go a little lower. That's okay. That's trading. But to me, it looks like Bitcoin dominance can definitely go up to 62.57%. Now I'm curious to see what the weekly HBDR looks on that. Oh, wow. And you can see here, a move down to there would have just retested the 59.8%. I mean, which is the 38.2%, the top of the blue channel, essentially. That's probably where I got the idea of a pullback there. But even there, a move from that point would take us to 78.6%, which is at 63.2%. Almost testing that high. With what we know with this fresh trend shift, you'd have to really question if we're going to make a new all-time or just a higher high, essentially, onto Bitcoin dominance, which even here is showing we even are breaking out on the 38.2%. This is interesting to me, actually, because people will say, well, Bitcoin dominance going up generally has meant that Bitcoin goes up. And I agree with that statement because we've been in a raging bull market. But in bear markets, the destruction scenario for alts is always when Bitcoin dominance starts moving up while Bitcoin moves down. And why would that occur? It's because prices start nuking so aggressively, like for altcoins, where people are just like, screw this, I need to sell my Solana and I'd rather just hold Bitcoin. But then Bitcoin starts going down more, which causes those alts to go more down, which then causes more people to buy Bitcoin and sell their alts. So it's kind of like a shit cycle. And that is why like Bitcoin dominance still can go up even in a bear market. And then that's actually one of the worst scenarios you can have for an altcoin. And that's why
I was going to say, it should actually continue to go up just based on everything that you're saying, which will make it way worse for everyone else.
Exactly, because I'm sure like everyone is seeing Trump buying majority ETH, and like this would mean ETH's going to probably dump to $550 this bear market. We see the monthly is actually even just breaking out into March. Yeah, last occurrence of this was here in January of 2023. and we moved until we lost it 25%. And even when we lost it in quotation marks, I mean, it still like quickly got reclaimed and broke out, back tested, broke out, back tested. Seems like it's gearing up for a breakout, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can confirm this. We'll be conservative. So any monthly closure above the 62.6%, that'll be monthly closures above, the EMA 100, the meme line, and then, that way we're not getting too bullish above under resistance. I have to say that. I don't want to, be clipped here, but if we can really close a monthly above the EMA 100, this would be the first time in Tether Dominance's entire history of that occurring. And right, with what we know, or we should know at least because of how much we talk about it, how well crypto likes that EMA 100, I do wonder what would happen once a monthly does reclaim that, personally speaking. I mean, that is an environment and a shift that we've never, ever, ever experienced, even in a bear market, because it just has never populated. So that is really concerning to me, actually, because that could mean upon reclaim, we literally could do this, and then we literally could just like move insanely big on Bitcoin dominance, which would be.
Can I tell you something else that's moving in that parallel economically and no one is understanding? It's the dollar, the DXY, because relative to other coins, it's maintaining itself right now while it's coming down. It's going to come down with the other ones. There's no doubt a little bit more because we still need to face the impact of like when people realize that we're going into bad economic times. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Once that happens, it'll capitulate and then it'll continue to go up as the economy continues to go down. And that is exactly the same thing that's happening to Bitcoin dominance. And that's the same sort of effect.
No, you're 100% right on that. Yeah. And what we're seeing is it's even just confusing all like bulls even because they're like, oh my God, Dixie's going down, but so is Bitcoin and so is stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard someone talk about this, about how potentially that's because people are now leaving the United States and business and companies are leaving the United States and going out. And that's why we're seeing even stocks move down, but then dollar move down. I just click buttons.
Oh, no. It's super simple. The reason why you're seeing dollar come down is two things. One, what Doge is doing, cutting spending and cutting if you're making less money and there's less money available for people, that means you're going to see, I mean, obviously, right? It's really
Which
understanding
makes sense because that euro is confirming that exact thought.
So now you have this dynamic. Also, at the same time, you're seeing everything come down with the dollar. The reason why you're seeing everything come down with the dollar is because people are saying the American economy is going to suffer. So American companies are coming down along with the dollar, but dollar is not nuking. Dollar is going to maintain itself higher, like in a higher low, if you will.
Yeah.
Once it capitulates, it's going to go up like crazy. The euro will go to 90, 80 cents per dollar, probably. Like it's going to go way lower. The same thing's going to happen to the peso and everything. And this is what happens in every major economic adjustment. So in 2020, the same thing happened to the peso dollar. I showed you that nonstop and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that confirms is bonds. Bond yields are coming down. When bond yields are coming down naturally, it's because more people is getting into the bonds. So why would people be buying more dollars and basically making a commitment for 5, 10, 20 years in dollars at this rate if they're going to print money and all that stuff and then inflation is going to kick our ass? It's not, right? So this is what we're seeing, and it's kind of like the same thing. Like this is why for the first time a lot of people are lost in this because they're looking at DXY coming down from the top at 109, 110 probably, and they're thinking, oh, risk on. Nah, dude, this is a recession. This is why you haven't seen this. And this is why everyone keeps buying the dip, and it's incredible to see.
You're speaking facts. And I think, and I don't remember, but I think in 2022, we had a scenario where we didn't have a lot of, or before the bear market, right before, we had a scenario where balance, and I always say balance does come back, where like Dixie was going down really hard, is making everyone bullish. Bitcoin didn't move. And then as soon as Dixie found a bottom and started going up, risk on started to dump. And like with Dixie, it's kind of it's kind of matching up with what you're saying. A monthly higher low. I mean, even hits far and target that monthly EMA 100 or 2-week EMA 100. My apologies. Form this divergence to represent a higher low. Almost there. Stocks looking weak, Bitcoin looking weak. What will occur if we just even move up back up to, let's say, the median? I guarantee I don't think stocks are going to move up with this. So,
nope. And yeah. Bitcoin and DXY on the daily, the chart is the same. I've shown you that on mine, which also you've never seen that before.
No, and again, well, but we do get balance back. So this was bull's chance, and nope, it's not working. So if this does start bouncing, we are even on the daily to 97.5% here. Like, yeah, you're right. It's going to nuke euro and it's going to nuke asset prices. So that's all I have. Let me just show everyone here my degeneracy.
Please.
So here I have my short. I really am enjoying I'm really enjoying Blowfin, a lot.
Me too.
Blowfin's really nice, honestly. And something about Blowfin too is I really am enjoying how they have trading view directly into their platform, because this really makes it easy for me. Instead of having to flip flop and look at all these different exchanges and trading view, I can just start plopping meme lines on this. So now I have a range. Oh, look, it's like 90,000, 89,000, 86,500. Confluence to what I just said. Lose 86,500, going to test this wick low. You take out that wick low, you massively drop to this zone. I really am enjoying though, like charting and trading directly on Blowfin. It's nice. So this is my position. I got, last night I got stopped, so I re-entered. Not the best entry, but it's fine, because if my idea plays out, we should see follow through today. But then also we have the Academy shorts. This is the Academy short we have running on BTCC. And that is obviously better. We nailed that at like 92s. So we are still green and we are still printing. I'm holding out hope that today we're going to, really, really see a nice move back to the 85.6, and then potentially into the weekend full on capitulate. So
we'll just make 20, 30 grand wouldn't hurt us at all, or perhaps a little bit more.
I will be very happy if this plays out.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting times, dude. I think it's every time we get to something like this, it's very, very interesting. This is Dixie on a daily. And again, this is Bitcoin on a daily. Seems like Dixie is actually leading right now. So I would expect the same type of, do you see this? Like this just fucking happened, right? Daily. There you go. It's just a matter of time once you break this for Bitcoin to look identical to DXY.
Yeah, exactly. I just muted myself, so I was agreeing with you, but I was muted. But yeah, no, I see exactly what you're saying. And like, if we're right, this is going to be a very, very, like, I do think that what we saw last night was a test dump, which is just like exactly what it is, just testing out how price is going to react when we start nuking. But like, price dumped freaking like multi-thousands of dollars in about an hour. So I do think once we really start breaking down, this is not going to stop, and we're going to really, really, really dump hard to like 73 to 69s fast, fairly fast, and there will be the big spot.
Yeah. I mean, even Scott Besson is coming out and saying, the economy might be rolling over just a little bit. So, yeah, it's funny, dude, because in 2008, nothing happened. Nothing happened. And then one day we all agreed something's happening. And the day that we all agreed, we all stopped saying nothing's happening. And we all went like, yeah, something's happening. Everything fucking turbo mega nuke to the downside. Everything so fast. And it's just like, if you read the comments, if you read people, we're still in that like debate. And this happened also in 2022 in the bear market, where people are now debating, are we in a bear market or not? Exactly. That's how it starts. It starts with the debate, right? And then there's a point where you just can't deny it anymore. Everyone accepts, and then, but this one should be hard.
you have 2.5 years of an echo chamber of just bulls circle jerking each other off. So what makes it so detrimental is people start clinging on to their favorite CT influencer. Oh, well, he said it's going back to 100K and blah, blah, blah. And, it's like, no, that's just not how this works. And that's why that is why most don't make any money in a bear market or even in a move down. They just honestly sign off and they don't trade because they just don't know how. And it's easier to trade down markets because it's just more
way easier
per TA. So yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah. So we'll enjoy this one. Thank you, sir. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All together. Fucking Farhan too. Great job, everyone. Great job, everyone. Vamos a ver Bitcoin. Lo estamos viendo en la diaria, damas y caballeros. Algo que tenemos que ver acá es cómo el dólar y Bitcoin se parecen mucho. Si elimino esto de mi tabla, que me va a doler los huevos porque este es un pote... ok, ya me lo aprendí, ya me lo memoricé. Si elimino esto, van a ver cómo el dólar se parece, el DXY, muchísimo a Bitcoin. Está tal cual, estos rechazos. Por cierto, estas fechas son iguales que las de Bitcoin. Simplemente el dólar va adelante, o sea, va adelantado unos días. Y esto parece ser lo que vamos a ver con Bitcoin. Igual y estoy mal, pero esto mínimo por ahora es lo que parece ser. ¿Por qué está cayendo el dólar a 103 y cacho? El dólar está cayendo en este momento y esta vez es diferente. No es diferente, esta vez es como siempre había sido en el pasado, antes de que todo el mundo comprara todos los dips de absolutamente todo, inflaran la bolsa, bla, bla, bla. ¿A qué me refiero con esto? Cuando ves este tipo de caídas en el dólar, normalmente ves la bolsa subir. ¿Alguien está viendo la bolsa subir? Pueden ver, este es el SP500. Estamos abajo desde el tope. Y recuerden, esto una corrección de 5% es una corrección. Estamos 7.48% abajo en el SP500. Entonces, ¿a alguien le suena que la caída del dólar es alcista? No. Y hay algo más que nos lo confirma. Tenemos nuestro bono a 10 años que es absolutamente el certificado de gloria de cómo medir el mundo de los bonos. El 10 años es la que vas a usar. Esto es lo que refleja los rates que te dan cuando te dan una hipoteca, cuando te dan un préstamo, etcétera. Y acabamos de crear un bajo más bajo que acá. Tenemos este alto más bajo, alto más bajo, y esto probablemente sea el alto más bajo que sigue. No estoy diciendo que, entonces estoy rápidamente aventándomelo, no estoy analizándolo. Podría obviamente venir acá, hacer ese bajo en el 432, pero el hecho de que esté bajando esto al mismo tiempo que el dólar te dice que estás en un diferente paradigma. Y la razón por qué es, ¿cómo es que el dólar relativamente contra otras monedas está bajando, pero la gente quiere comprar bonos del Tesoro de Estados Unidos y por ende los retornos están bajando? Y la razón por la que los retornos, lo que paga el bono está bajando, para todos los que tal vez no estén tan familiarizados con bonos y la dinámica del dólar con ello, normalmente, y es lo que tuvimos que hacer cuando devaluamos nuestra moneda en el 2021, creando 7 trillones de dólares de la noche a la mañana, tuvimos que ofrecer intereses altos, eso quiere decir retornos altos, 2022 acá. Y la razón por qué hicimos todo esto fue porque nadie quería comprar el dólar. Este nivel fue, nadie quiere comprar el dólar porque lo vas a devaluar brutalmente. Después, una vez que acabó, este fue el tope, este fue literalmente el principio del mercado superalcista. Vieron que cayeron los rates. Están cayendo los rates. ¿Alguien ve un mercado alcista? ¿Alguien? Pueden ver cómo es diferente la dinámica y la razón por la que es diferente. De nuevo, esto es lo que funcionaba antes. Esto es lo que pasa en una recesión. Lo que pasa es que nadie, casi toda la gente que está acá, estoy seguro están chavos, bola de cabrones, me dan envidia porque yo ya estoy viejo, pero muchos de ustedes nunca han visto esto. Ahorita estaba platicando con un amigo mío que trabaja en Volkswagen y estaba discutiendo que los aranceles, que los costos. Le digo, güey, no te preocupes por inflación, no te preocupes por eso. Estás hablando de vamos a ir a una recesión que tiene que traer deflación. Y me dice, deflación del 25%, eso nunca va a pasar. En el 2008, la deflación fue casi de 50% en casi todos los bienes. 50%, o sea, yo estoy hablando, vas a comprar una casa que costaba 4 millones de dólares, costaba 2. Una casa de uno costaba $500,000. Y no me tienen que decir, y no lo leí, eso yo lo vi, ese mercado fue lo que me hizo, honestamente, los millones que hice, ¿no? Ese mercado fue el que me ayudó a hacer un putero de dinero. Y estamos viendo lo mismo. Estamos viendo esa misma dinámica. Ahora, ¿qué es lo que va a pasar? Y esto es lo que yo les he dicho. Esto no es un movimiento rápido. Cuando les digo, el dólar se va a poner fuerte, probablemente aquí hay una bola de gente diciendo, ¡ah, viste que el dólar se iba a fortalecer! Va a tomar un año, va a tomar de aquí a fin de año. En el momento en que la gente acepte ¿cómo se llama? En el momento en el que la gente acepte que el dólar y que la economía americana está cayendo y colapsando, cuando bajen los bonos agresivamente, el rendimiento de los bonos, esto va a rebotar a la alza con una fuerza y va a regresar mínimo al 114. ¿Por qué? Ahí les va. Un segundo. Voy a poner la mensual en la del peso. ¿Ok? Que hubieran dicho en el 2017 que el peso iba básicamente, no cayó al nivel más bajo, pero cayó al nivel más bajo antes de febrero del 2020. Este va a ser el momento del dólar, ¿ok? Donde el peso le había ganado al dólar de acá a acá un 15%. Todo el mundo que tiene sus pesos estaba muy contento por 3 añitos y de repente llega el momento donde el dólar dice, se acabó carnal y nos vamos para arriba. El peso perdió casi 40% en contra del dólar y estás hablando en 3 meses. 40%. Este momento todavía no ocurre. Este momento está aquí. Este momento se está en este momento cargando, donde el peso va a perder, y no solamente el peso, el euro, el yen, la libra, van a perder entre 25 a 40% del valor. Esto va a hacer que el dólar se vaya a las nubes, mínimo al 114, pero mínimo al 114. Esto va a hacer que los bonos, que el rendimiento de los bonos continúe bajando y no la Reserva Federal, y esto es algo donde están distrayendo a la gente con cosas, donde la Reserva Federal nos está diciendo que no van a bajar tipos por la inflación. Los tipos están bajando solos y eso nos va a llevar a un escenario de deflación y vamos a poder pedir dinero muy barato porque Estados Unidos, toda la gente va a querer tener dólares porque la economía americana se va a reactivar fuertemente después de este movimiento. Esto pasó en el 2008 tal cual y es lo que va a volver a pasar una vez más. Esta vez es diferente, pero solamente es diferente en corto plazo. Aquellos que no hayan vivido una recesión de verdad. Esto es lo que normalmente ocurre. Y esto es lo que estás viendo en la diaria, donde ya barriste estos mínimos, tus siguientes mínimos a barrer son el 3.99% y de ahí nos vamos abajo, 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 abajo. Y vamos obviamente a superar estos niveles de septiembre del 2024 que aquí se cargaron y vamos a la baja. Tenemos solamente que perder este SMA 200, nos vamos para abajo. Eso es lo que está pasando acá, ¿ok? Va a tomar un año en jugar todo esto para que la gente lo pueda ver claramente y voltear y decir, ok, esto fue lo que pasó. ¿Por qué es importante saber esto antes de analizar Bitcoin? Bastante sencillo. And by the way, Alex, I'm sorry you're there. Cardano and Tesla are next.
Cool.
Chairs. Time for the chair.
Yeah. Looking it out.
Pues acá tenemos Bitcoin y vamos a analizarlo rápidamente, que llevamos desde enero del 2025, el 20 de enero del 2025, creamos este tope. Yo creí que habíamos topado acá en diciembre, pero pues tuvimos un topecito más alto y de ahí hemos caído. Oficialmente estamos en estos rangos, estamos rangueando. La razón por la que tengo este rango, ¿cuál fue el que acabo de crear? ¿Este o este? Bueno, los dos sirven en realidad, pero acabo de crear un rango y había quitado una línea meme acá. Ok, déjame simplemente pongo esa. Estaba aquí. Ok. Es importante estos niveles para todos los que están tradeando, porque es bastante sencillo, honestamente. Lo que estamos viendo es altos más bajos, altos más bajos, altos más bajos, altos más bajos, bajos más bajos, bajos más bajos, bajos más bajos. Y estamos en la tendencia diaria. Claramente pueden ver que la tendencia se rompe aquí, en los 78,000. Y de bajar de los 78,000, tienes que llevarte todo esto a mínimo los 69,000. En la semanal, estás viendo un poco de lo mismo. Hemos creado estos bajos. Una vez que rompamos eso a la baja, vamos a ir a sentarnos a esta línea y todavía más para abajo. ¿Por qué se ve bajista Bitcoin cuando nos están diciendo que el presidente Trump y todo esto? Aquí es una lección importante para todos porque he estado poniendo muchísima atención en los últimos años, sobre todo en cómo nos dan noticias, cómo nos hacen sentir y qué es lo que mueve el mercado en grande. Y si recuerdan, en el 2023, al principios del 2023, tuvimos la crisis bancaria en Estados Unidos, donde nos dijeron a todos que estaban explotando los puentes de cripto, los iban a cerrar, iban a quitar las monedas estables, cerraron Binance en Estados Unidos. SEC demandó a Coinbase, demandó a Binance, demandó a Gemini, demandó a Kraken. Todo eso pasó en el 2023. ¿Qué fue lo que hizo el precio de Bitcoin en el 2023? Vamos a ver. Este es el 2023, marzo. Aquí empieza la crisis bancaria, aquí. ¿Ok? Empezó por ahí de marzo. Vamos a darle esto. Empieza la crisis bancaria acá, donde te dicen, todo es negativo, vamos a demandar a todo el mundo, Gary Gensler es el malo. ¿Y qué fue lo que pasó? Vamos a tomarlo de acá, el 13 de marzo, hasta arriba. Solamente tuvimos un pompazo de 389%. ¿Ok? Con las peores noticias, bla, bla, bla. La guerra de Rusia estaba por acá, la guerra nuclear que nos iba a destruir a todos. Y hemos trepado hasta acá. Tenemos Biden, el gobierno en contra de cripto, el gobierno en contra. Ahora, solamente quiero que piensen en esto. Biden, estamos todos de acuerdo, los demócratas, el partido demócrata, no importa qué partido le vayas o no, ellos odiaban a cripto y estaban combatiéndolo con todas sus fuerzas. ¿Entienden lo que pasó o no? ¿Entendemos lo que pasó o no? Nos dieron malas noticias y tuvimos todo esto. Ahora estamos aquí arriba. Acá, en noviembre del 2024, gana Trump las elecciones y esto es distribución máxima. Esto fue a toda la gente que creyó que Donald Trump solamente iba a traer cosas positivas a cripto. Es esto. Nadie se ha fijado últimamente qué ha pasado desde que vimos este pico. Se acabaron las demandas en contra de los exchanges, se acabaron las demandas en contra de Binance, sale Sisi de la cárcel, Kraken está de vuelta, sacan al fundador de no sé dónde, no me acuerdo qué exchange de la cárcel. Cambiamos las leyes para cripto y el precio está bajando. No nada más eso. Diario en Twitter, si te metes a Twitter, todo el tiempo están intentando pompear noticias positivas de cripto. No les voy a decir exactamente lo que está pasando, creo que es obvio, pero sí entienden lo que está pasando. Ahora, vámonos a las tablas tal cual. Yo creo que era muy importante analizar eso, ponerlo enfrente de todos, porque hay mucho ruido ahorita y todo el mundo está enfocado en el ruido y creo que eso es negativo para ti como analista. Vamos a ver esto en la trimestral. Para que sepan, en la trimestral, en Momentum, y Farhan había hecho eso en su gráfico, tenemos 3 divergencias bajistas en la trimestral. Tenemos estos altos y estos altos. Básicamente en Momentum son así. Altos más bajos. Todos. Esta es una divergencia bajista gigantesca. Obviamente es continuación, pero tienes 3 empujes de divergencia bajista, ¿no? Y si tienes 3, eso quiere decir que va a pegar fuerte cuando se dé. Por ahora, viendo Bitcoin en la trimestral, y de nuevo, no podemos usar esto para para estar de degenerados, pero a largo plazo esto se ve todavía muy alcista. Tienes bajos, bajos más altos, bajos más altos, bajos más altos y obviamente altos más altos. Bien. También, por acá, para toda la gente que esté acompañándonos por primera vez, este es un indicador que se llama BBWP, y es absolutamente gratuito aquí en TradingView. Esta es nuestro indicador de volatilidad. La volatilidad es representada por la línea de colores. El promedio de la volatilidad es representado por lo blanco. Aquí arriba en esta línea es el 100% de volatilidad. Aquí abajo es 0% de la volatilidad. Y yo agregué esta línea meme en el 15%. Podemos ver que la volatilidad en la trimestral llegó al punto más bajo en 33% y ahorita está expandiendo al 53%. Bien, lo había hecho originalmente en estas velas verdes y a la subida. Normalmente esto nos ayuda a empujar el precio en una dirección, pero esto se puede voltear o esto puede empujar más fuerte en otra dirección. No crean que solamente porque empezó en una dirección ya quedaste para siempre y eso se va a que todo cambia, pero te da buenos setups para entender cuando volatilidad está empujando al precio. Eso quiere decir que tienes más probabilidades de agarrar un movimiento más grande. Ok, vamos a la mensual. En la mensual, perdón, la de 2 meses acá. Mensual, ahí está. En la mensual nosotros nos consideramos en un mercado alcista todavía, siempre y cuando estemos por encima del promedio del 9. Nuestro promedio del 9 está en 81,402, lo que todavía nos diría que estamos en un mercado alcista. La cosa es, en el RSI, una vez más, tal cual como lo tuvimos en el ciclo del 2021, tuvimos este tope en los $65,000. Y luego, a fin de año, tuvimos este tope, que fue el famoso $69,000, ¿no? Cuando hicimos este tope, tuvimos una divergencia bajista en el RSI. Eso quiere decir que el RSI, en vez de hacer esto, que fue lo que hizo el precio, no, el RSI hizo esto. Acá. ¿Qué nos dice eso? Divergencia bajista. Cada vez que ha habido en la historia de Bitcoin una divergencia bajista en la mensual, se ha acabado el ciclo. Tenemos una divergencia bajista mensual. No estoy diciendo que se tiene que dar, pero le ponemos más probabilidades entonces a eso. Bien. Tenemos todavía nuestro rango. En la mensual todavía no tenemos ningún problema, pero les voy a enseñar el rango de trading que nos interesa. Ahora, otra cosa importante en la mensual es ver esto. Volatilidad está yendo al punto más bajo de toda la historia. Está a punto de entrar en esa zona. Y eso nos va a dar un setup muy potente en cuanto se meta, esperemos se meta bajo el 15% y luego erupte a la alza. Así que atentos ahí. ¿Ok? Vale. En este gráfico mensual van a poder ver algo. Tenemos la media. ¿Cómo funciona el HPDR? Se los voy a decir muy rápido, cosas muy básicas. Si pierdes la media en el HPDR, ¿no? Que es la línea blanca que estás viendo acá. Cuando la pierdes, tienes mucha más probabilidad de ir a la parte baja de la zona azul. La parte baja de la zona azul son 62,493 en el cierre, que todavía falta bastante, todavía faltan 24 días y 8 horas. Ahora, de poder aguantar por encima de la media está en, y esto es algo importante para ustedes que quieran saberlo, la media está en 83,800. Lo pueden ver acá, en 83,800. De cerrar por debajo de eso, van a ir acá, a los 62,000. De poder aguantar, podríamos tener una revisita a los 104,848. Por ahora, tienes, viéndolo solamente así, más probabilidad de ir a la parte alta de la zona azul. Aunque la zona azul, la parte alta ya te rechazó acá. Y luego te tiró y perdiste la media. Ahorita está solamente subiendo por encima de la media, pero le daríamos más probabilidades a perder esa media e ir a esta zona en los $62,000. 2 semanas también tiene divergencias bajistas, además de tener divergencias. Ah, no, perdón, esta es la de 2 meses. Luego. Me sé hasta las velas, carajo. Ya está mal esto. Ahora, 2 semanas, ¿qué acaba de pasar? Acabamos de perder nuestro promedio del 9, que se encuentra en los 91,445. Y vamos para abajo. Estamos en 87,200. ¡Wow! Ok. Obviamente caímos de la zona azul, tuvimos el rechazo de la media, intentamos aguantar la zona azul y ahora estamos cayendo por debajo y estamos en la zona verde. En esta zona verde, bueno, sí, verde, vamos a decirle verde, del 50% al 61%. Todavía faltan 9 días y 8 horas para cerrar esta vela, pero de no aguantar esta zona en los 84,533, tu siguiente objetivo más probable es el 88,3, que de nuevo está en 66,000. Pero antes podríamos tener algo de rebote en los 72, porque ahí tienes el promedio del 34. Con eso dicho, vamos rápido a ver volatilidad que está contrayendo, lo que nos dice nada. Semanal. Semanal, aquí es donde se pone interesante la cosa. ¿Por qué? Porque en la semanal han visto estos setups, ¿no? El famosísimo setup de Hamas, el que vivimos en diciembre del 2023. Acá, ese setup de Hamas, justamente ahí, y luego este, por acá. ¿A dónde nos llevaron? Vamos a ver. Pueden ver, de acá, de donde se dio a la parte alta del primer movimiento, un 114% a la alza. Bien, un setup de volatilidad potente. Segundo setup de volatilidad potente es este. ¿Qué tanto subió? 56%. Acá nos está dando uno de esos setups, ¿ok? Tenemos volatilidad nula, estos son periodos de volatilidad en 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, son 4 semanas y está la volatilidad en 5,16%. Una vez que expanda encima de esta línea meme verde, por encima del 15%, si el movimiento es a la baja, y quiero que vean los últimos movimientos en todas estas expansiones de volatilidad, todas, nos han dado estos pompazos. Esta va a ser la primera que nos den para abajo. Y el movimiento promedio de esto, que de nuevo todavía no expande en esta vela, así que les estoy siendo buen pedo midiéndolo de acá arriba. 30% nos lleva a 65, 35% nos lleva a 60 y puede expandir mucho más. Entonces vamos a mantener un ojo bien pelado por acá para ver qué está pasando, pero estamos creando altos más bajos, bajos más bajos también en la de 2 semanas. En la semanal, perdón. Vamos a la de 5 días. La de 5 días es interesante porque tenemos un poco de lo mismo, pero volatilidad ya está expandiendo. Y está expandiendo ante esta vela verde. Estos son los setups que nos dan el 35%. Los semanales son mucho más potentes, pero estos son. Esta es la segunda expansión de volatilidad. Y estamos básicamente yendo de lado, pero en rojo, porque estamos cayendo. Esto, si continúa esta expansión de volatilidad a la baja, nos puede llevar tranquilamente al promedio del 100, que está en los 70,000, pero antes tu primera parada y última manera de salvarlo es tu 55 y la zona del 78,6% en los $80,000. Llévate este wick para acá, abajo y adiós. Diaria. Tenemos volatilidad contrayendo después de llegar a extremos en esta caída, lo que nos dice absolutamente nada. Bien. ¿Qué estamos viendo en la diaria? Vimos ahorita el rechazo de la parte alta del 61,8% y ahora estamos cayendo a la zona azul. De la zona azul ya caímos a la media, que está en $85,000 y rebotamos con fuerza y estamos en 86,950. De perder nuestra media, vamos a la parte baja, que también coincide con mi línea meme y mi promedio del S&P 200, que es lo que le da una alta probabilidad que esto pase, a nuestra siguiente parada en los 82,530. ¿Ok? De acá, rápido, la de 8 horas, que se me hace muy interesante cómo está jugando la de 8 horas. Pueden ver el rechazo de la media. Después de tener esta vela topera, el cierre, la confirmación de esta caída con esta vela topera. Esta es una vela topera. La confirmación de esta caída está por abajo de los 87,900. Si cierras esta vela por debajo de 87,900, esto va a dar continuación a la caída y nos puede llevar tranquilamente al 83,864. Pero ya lo vieron acá, lo vimos en tiempo real. Yo abrí mi short, me uní al club de Alex en los 90,500. Y la razón porque era muy fácil invalidar este alto. Y pues funcionó, ahí vamos para abajo, interesante. En 86,900, en lo que les están diciendo a todos que sigan comprando su Bitcoin, que se vienen los anuncios, bien. 4 horas, también interesante. 4 horas, un poco de lo mismo. Tenemos el rechazo de la media, la caída hasta la zona del 78%. Siguiente parada es el 88.3 en 85.800.
Well, that was a good short on the 4 hour.
Wasn't that fucking awesome? Yeah. I was just saying, fuck, dude. I'm just looking at this with a big smile on my face right now.
Rejected the spot perfectly. 888.
Yeah.
Down. So
Yeah.
congrats to anyone who caught that, because that was an easy 2% move, I think.
I'll say this. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate your late night texts.
Of course, always.
And I might be one of the only ones to read it too. So thank you.
Yeah. You're always up too when I'm up.
Sadly. Y sí, cachamos este short ahorita. Alex me dijo, voy a ver el rechazo del promedio del 100, ¿no? Que es la media de 100 sesiones en Bitcoin, en la de 4 horas. Y voy a esperar un rechazo ahí. Y mi invalidación estaba aquí arriba. ¡Pum! La dio y ahí vamos para abajo con un movimiento excelente. No cachamos el tope, cachamos la parte baja de la zona azul en ese momento que estaba en 91.500. Y de ahí vamos un 4%. O sea, con 10% ya estamos con 10X estamos en 40%. Nada mal para un día del trabajo en la oficina aquí de Elite Trading Academy. Bueno, ¿a qué llegamos? ¿A qué conclusiones llegamos con esto? Estamos creando altos más bajos, bajos más bajos, pero por ahora está jugando un poco el juego de la indecisión, porque hay mucha gente que está viendo estos bajos aguantar y estos bajos. Ahora, ¿qué es esto también? Un hombro, cabeza, hombro. Y el objetivo de ese movimiento, ahora que lo pongo así, no me había dado cuenta. Vamos a ponerlo aquí. El objetivo de este movimiento, una vez que se rompa, y se rompe cayendo de los 86, o sea, la confluencia es divina. Digamos que se rompe aquí. No, aquí arriba. $72,000 una vez más. Interesante. Aquí en la de 4 horas está apareciendo. Por esto, porque está haciendo bajos más altos, la gente cree que podría ser alcista. Pero para nosotros simplemente es esto. ¿Quieren ser alcistas? Bitcoin el día de hoy tiene que cerrar por arriba de esta línea meme en los $95,000. Eso es el único escenario que se podría dar donde esto cambie por completo, es que hoy la vela de 3 días, la diaria y todo lo demás tenga un cierre acá y se va para arriba. Ustedes pónganle posibilidades a qué tanto vamos a poder llegar acá al cierre diario faltan como 8 horas. 7 horas. Discúlpenme, 7 horas. Ahí lo tienen. Bitcoin está jugando perfecto en nuestra mano. Sigan las alertas, sigan a este maldito crack de Alex y Farhan, que pues, nos han honestamente hecho bastante varo estos últimos meses con estas jugadas. Así que vamos a continuar haciéndolo. Vamos a ver Cardano, el bien de la silla tan famoso. Vamos a darle para adelante. All you, sir. Floor is yours.
Sweet. All right, let's check out Cardano and see if Trump made us rich or not. Let's see here. I haven't looked at this coin in a very long time. So I did look last year at it, and I was pretty bullish on it. I mean, let me see if that's changed, because I think the 2-month was telling us a pretty big setup was brewing. Yeah, I mean, I remember this right over here. I was talking about potentially a move on Cardano that could take us up to the like $1.60, $1.80. But that was the criteria for that was if the 38.2% held on the 2-month. You can see we lost it here. Now we are above it now, but I mean, I'm not confident that this is going to hold around here for a month and 24 days. This honestly could turn into a pretty nasty candle. You'd be gauging obviously the reaction, let me get off the 2-month, but that was kind of my criteria, because I had a lot of people saying I was bullish on Cardano. Weren't you bullish? Well, yeah, but it was based on like the 2-month and the monthly chart. The monthly here, I mean, it did break out slightly, but let's check this monthly. So HBR is not telling me much. We are above the monthly median, just to know. We see here that we lost the monthly 9 last month, so that is interesting to see. We took out all the stops, even this last major high here. So essentially, if you're a bull into this month, you want it to hold that 69-cent level, which makes sense. Cardano holders are freaks. Makes sense that 69 cents is the level now to hold. Goddamn freaks, it's crazy. But yeah, for the culture, hold 69 cents, monthly EMA 9. It's going to be a major spot because what you're seeing is the EMA 34, the 9, and the mean line all right around the zone, which can help us now decipher on the lower time frames what we're working with. Because if you start looking at like the 2-week, you even see, okay, well, that EMA 34 on the 2-week has been a very big spot for Cardano. You can see on this whole move down on the 2-week, we were solidly rejecting the EMA 34. And on this move up, we were basing off the EMA 34 on the 2-week. No need to overcomplicate things. So with that said, what we see is, the EMA 34 is right around that 69-cent region, giving me very good confluence that this zone is very important. If we start really closing 2 weeks under the EMA 34, you really have to start looking at a move all the way back down to 56 cents and possibly all the way to 45 cents, in my opinion. Weekly is losing the EMA 9. This is concerning because if we're truly very, very bullish, we need this EMA 9 to hold. What we don't want is this to turn into an SFP, and then that can give us an easy weekly short. Now, obviously, you have to use no leverage because it's an insane stop loss, but regardless, an easy short potentially, because we should expect Cardano to respect the monthly 9 as resistance, and that's just simply because of what we've seen in the past. The monthly 9 has been a very, very, very strong point to kind of like stop bulls in their tracks. Even in this example here, we lost the monthly 9, weekly 9, my apologies. And then for multiple weeks, rejected until we capitulated. And then we rallied up, rejected the weekly 9, rallied up, rejected the weekly 9, and so forth. So the fact that we're losing the weekly 9 is not good at all. And I understand the news and the hope, but if we're truly going to be bullish, we need to see Cardano close at minimum above 85 cents. That way we can at least just keep within this range, and then we can potentially have a move back up possibly to $1.05. You can see here that even the HBDR, we're at a very important spot here because this weekly is on the verge of losing the 38.2%. Now, I know a lot of people don't have the HBDR, so you can gauge this as the EMA 21 is right on the 38.2%. So if the weekly starts closing under the 21, EMA 21, on the weekly, it's going to greatly give us confluence that we're definitely going to make a move back down to the 68 cents. That would mean that we've lost the EMA 21. This has been a big spot, and we know that whenever we lose this, it often acts as resistance, but also on the weekly, we'd be losing the 38.2%, just like on this epic rally up. We've lost the weekly 38.2%. And on this major move down, we lost the weekly 38.2%. So this is a very big spot for Cardano currently. And right now, bears are winning, in my opinion. Already looked at that. You have to be cautious. I mean, going last month, losing the monthly 9, you would be gauging some kind of bounce, but your criteria is, you don't want the monthly 9 to hold. Starts holding and we hold above that, which is at 69 cents, good chance we can get a consolidation scenario and play this big range up. But we're kind of now like at the point where if bulls really don't pull together within this weekly, this really could bleed into the monthly, going all the way back down to 69 cents. And at that point, you'd be under the weekly SMA 200, the weekly EMA 34, and the most logical spot would be that EMA 100 at 63 cents, which would mean we're now under the 69-cent mark. So that's the higher time frame view. It's very simple. You're basically watching this week. You ideally want us to hold the 85-cent range. That way, then it can just be, a tap of support. Losing this would mean we're range breaking down, just like right in this scenario. And we would get confluence of that once the daily really starts losing the EMA 100. This EMA 100 on the daily, as we all know, it's kind of like you lose that, then the weekly is probably going to close bad. The weekly closes bad, the monthly is going to close bad. So it all kind of hinges right now on this, which was major resistance being solidly flipped into support. What you'll notice is the cluster here too. So this can make for a very easy invalidation if you are longing or shorting. No daily silver cross. Interesting. Weekly's in a silver cross. So the silver cross retest isn't working. EMA 21. But even there, if that 21 doesn't work, the last spot for the silver cross would be the 55, which is at 65 cents. So it's not a good view. Failed breakout. Right, broke out of the Bollinger Bands after it was getting tight. Broke back in. This rejection tells you that this breakout isn't occurring. We're back into this range. What's the middle band? So hard to see that with all the other lines. I can't. So many blue lines. 1 second. So the mid band is at 78.90. If you play Bollinger Bands, it's like you reject the top, you go to the mid, you lose the mid, you go to the bottom. It can be that simple. Okay, let me take these off. Just wanted to see if it was tied or contracting or expanding, but we're just back in the BB Bollinger Band range. We see here volatility is possibly resetting. Yeah, it's on the verge of resetting, confirmed today, losing the moving average, ties into possibly markets catching a move down. That's why today this is going to be really important. So on Cardano, I mean, yes, we've had an epic rally up, and this move up was nice, and it potentially can shift trend because we did take out the last major lower high. But bulls need to really solidify this higher low anywhere around here. If we really start losing the daily EMA 100, that'll be your first sign as a bull to possibly get out of this, because this could be gearing up for a move all the way back down to 69 cents. And per the weekly trend, we can go all the way to 58.23 and still form a higher low around here. Would it be dirty? Yeah, but still technically would be a higher low. So, until we essentially, until Cardano closes above 85 cents, which it's now losing. So if the daily, let's say, holds 85 cents, great. This analysis is probably wrong and support held. But I'm going to be gauging this as we're just in the process of breaking down. So for that, use the EMA 100 on the daily as your gauge. You start losing that, max confluence to a move back to 69 cents. 69 cents will be the final place for Cardano. If bulls start really not stepping in there and losing it, we could potentially get a capitulation scenario where we go all the way down to this wick, we break the weekly trend and shift it back down, maybe get a bounce at 56 cents, but the ultimate objective will be all the way back to 45 cents. This is a really big zone for Cardano, and we understand that whenever that 69 cents doesn't hold, history has shown that we aggressively drop to the 45 cents pretty fast. So let's see if we can get any kind of hopium with the BTC pairing, because it would be wrong to look at the Tether pairing without the Bitcoin pairing. Oh, and would you look at that? We're just in a massive range. Who would have guessed that? Yeah, that's all alts ever like to do is range or breakdown. But something to note on this weekly is the weekly is still, well, before I say that, let me see. So yeah, I mean, the weekly is trend shifted on the Bitcoin pairing. We're losing potentially the weekly EMA 100, not a good sign. Deviations of that EMA 100 results usually into the dumps. We saw the last occurrence here where once we deviated, we essentially moved down 46%. So, on the flip side, though, the daily is silver crossing freshly. Let me throw the 9 on. That'll help. Yeah. Or nope. Let me. Yeah, no, it is. Okay, that was confusing me. We see the 9 cross the 21 here, but then the 21 never got the silver cross, but we see it actually did into last week. So we're now testing the silver cross. This is a good place for a bounce. Kind of ties into what we're saying with ADA, which is 85 cents. Hopefully we'll bounce or hold. But yeah, if this weekly really starts losing that 9, we're probably going to test the silver cross 21.55, which luckily for us is all right around the same zone. And if we're already all the way down there and we've already deviated the EMA 100, and we know that this deviation of the EMA 100 results in big dumps, you have to be very cautious of this coming all the way back down to the range lows at 724. Look at Cardano versus Bitcoin as a massive range here. You're not going to get any major follow through unless we either break 1186 or lose the 7.3s. Until then, you literally could just range here for a very long time. You know, but it's like until we either break out or break down, you're just going to stay in this range. And you know, if we were truly bullish and Trump truly was going to just buy the shit out of Cardano, I would be expecting the Bitcoin pairing to be showing strength. And this is not showing strength. Instead, it's actually quite the opposite and showing a major breakdown / deviation. You see here, we're now at the weekly median. So you can, if you again don't have the HBDR, use the weekly 9 on the Bitcoin pairing as a great spot for you. Because you know, if we start closing under the weekly 9, A, that's just bearish, always is when you lose the weekly 9, but B, you'll be losing the weekly median too. So, you know, good confluence if that occurs, we'll test the weekly 21, but at that point, you have to really question this whole setup. Same thing, approaching support, daily 9, getting lost will be concern. You can, just like on the tether pairing, look at this as probable of going back to the support if we lose the EMA 100 on the daily. For us, there's a nice cluster here, daily silver cross. So if the 9 doesn't hold, you're going to get a move back to the 21. And if this doesn't hold, you can just see nuking down is going to put us under all the major moving averages on the daily, which would be pretty bad. And it would even mean we've lost not the median, but just the silver cross would invalidate. And then we'd have a move to the SMA 200, which is lining up nicely with right around the bottom of the support. But I mean, the hopium on that is we broke out, put in a major green dildo, and we're just slowly grinding down to possibly test this here. You know, ideally, if Cardano can test this on the Bitcoin pairing, bulls can make an argument that this will just be a retest. So come down to here and then boom. So, but that would still mean that this will go lower and this still has to move up a little bit more. So that's kind of like the only hopium scenario I just found for Cardano versus Bitcoin is this. Unless, let's say, support holds today, the daily close above 85 cents, and the Bitcoin pairing holds the daily 9. But if that doesn't happen, then this probably plays out. So if you are a Cardano bull, you probably will get a discount on it. And I'd be watching for 69 cents to be a major, major, major spot for Cardano. And if that doesn't hold, I would not touch this again. And I would be gearing up for low 50s, possibly 40s. So that's all I have on Cardano. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, you said 69 cents to hold?
Yeah, 69. That's why Cardano people are dirty, because 69 cents is the line in the sand for them. I don't find it a coincidence, honestly.
These dirty motherfuckers.
Exactly.
All right, perfect. I'll do trend line instead then on 69 so that I can have that here.
Perfect. Was Tesla the next one?
Yeah, Tesla.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. Bueno, estamos viendo Cardano, damas y caballeros. Hoy buen breakdown acá, que habíamos identificado, no sé cuándo fue. La última vez que vimos esto fue hace un rato, así que discúlpenme, estoy intentando familiarizarme, por más que haya visto el análisis de Alex, es diferente ver la tabla por ti mismo, ¿no? Importante anotar, esto también topó en diciembre y luego tuvo este alto más bajo. Desde entonces no ha podido tocar este alto más bajo en 1.18 y está cotizando en 82 centavos en este momento. Pero, ojo, estamos en un punto bastante importante. Yo creo que esta tabla simplificada es básicamente lo que esperaría el movimiento fuera, pero no me va a meter a simplemente dejárselas tan sencilla. Vamos a ver un poco de lejos a Cardano también. Ahorita regresamos a esta diaria. Uy, tíos, Cardano había hecho un alto histórico por acá y está creando el famoso patrón de árbol de Navidad o de pene y huevos, ¿no? Acá. Tenemos estos altos, altos más altos y altos mucho más bajos. Este ciclo solamente llegó Cardano a 1.33, que tiene todo el sentido del mundo. Bueno, no, en realidad no tiene sentido nada en las criptos, no les voy a mentir. Aparte de Bitcoin no hay nada que tenga sentido. Entiendo el uso de Solana, etcétera, pero o sea, no tiene sentido muchas de las cosas que pasan en el sector cripto. Está bien, está bien. Estamos viendo que no pudimos lograr ni siquiera acercarnos un poco a esta zona desde que hicimos nuestro alto histórico, bueno, nuestro alto local en diciembre. No hemos podido simplemente ni siquiera entrar en ese rango. Y pueden ver, este es un rango bastante importante para Cardano, ¿no? Porque por encima de esta zona tienes este tipo de expansión. Pero mientras un huevo, o es un pito con dos huevitos, perdón. Pero abajo de esta zona tienes este tipo, este rango, normalmente no aguanta acá. No hay casi nada de movimiento en esta zona. En esta zona es como la zona intermediaria, ¿no? Donde pasa simplemente antes de hacer el movimiento para arriba o el movimiento para abajo. Entonces, no me puedo fiar de esta zona intermedia y yo diría que muy probablemente perdiendo los 79 centavos, tengas una alta probabilidad de ir a visitar una vez más los 50 centavos, sin duda alguna. Por ahora, como sea, la tendencia a largo plazo no es alcista porque no has podido lograr altos más altos que acá, pero existe la posibilidad de que la teoría del viejo tío Salo de que estos ciclos de criptomonedas sean de 8 años en vez de 4, podría darse. Es lo que vimos con XRP. Literalmente, XRP es el contrario de este gráfico. Pero no, ahora sí que aquí estoy adivinando y sacándomela del culo porque esto no tiene sentido alguno, ¿ok? En general, no en cómo se ve la gráfica. Ok, con eso dicho, volatilidad está en el punto más bajo de toda la historia en Cardano. Denme un segundo que le di 2 clics por ahí. Lo podemos ver, está cayendo y está en 41.38%. Vamos a la mensual en Cardanillo. A ver qué tenemos por ahí. En la mensual guardada. Ven un poco de lo mismo. Esta es la zona claramente donde de transición y esta zona no le gusta estar mucho al precio, por lo que podemos darnos cuenta rápido y identificar la zona que si perdemos va a ser importantísima para el precio. Tuvimos esta expansión de volatilidad justamente con esta vela verde, lo pueden ver acá, y esta expansión de volatilidad nos llevó hasta acá. Pero desde entonces la volatilidad se está yendo de lado y el promedio está cachando la volatilidad y pronto, viéndolo así, podría decir que esto va a contraer. Pero por ahora todavía no lo ha hecho y esperamos que esto continúe de lado. Vamos a ver con el HPDR, juntándolo con mis poderosas líneas meme. Uy, güey, el HPDR nos rechaza la zona del 71.8% y justamente coincide, ¿no? Con la línea meme. Pierdes esta línea meme en 79 centavos y muy probablemente va hacia la parte alta de la zona azul primero, que está en 52, 56 centavos, que una vez más le agrega confluencia un poco a lo que estábamos viendo en altas temporalidades y eso nos podría mandar una vez más a visitar estos bajos en los 30 y tantos centavos. Esto no pinta tan bien, va para abajo. Lo que tiene que aguantar acá para no perderlo son los 56 centavos, la zona de entre 60 y 56 centavos. De perder esa zona, vas a ir a la parte de abajo. Importante saber eso. 2 semanas. 2 semanas en Cardano, son 2 semanas viendo cómo se gana tu mujer en una silla en hotel, en lo que la volatilidad está contrayendo. Y acá podemos ver, la media está justo acá, en el dólar. Y la media la perdimos, fuimos rechazados y ahora caímos a la parte baja de la zona azul. Pero continuamos la caída. Lo que me está diciendo que probablemente, si perdemos la zona azul acá, una vez más, en mi línea verde meme, vamos muy probablemente a ir a visitar el 34. Olvídate esta línea meme en 69 centavos. Yo creo que vamos a ir al 34 a 64 centavos. Nos dice algo la volatilidad acá. No, estaba contrayendo y por eso le hice chiquita. Semanal. Un rechazo de la parte alta de la zona azul, rechazo de la media, cayendo a la parte baja de la zona azul, que una vez más coincide con mi línea meme. Les estoy diciendo básicamente lo mismo. Subir, quieres estar por encima de 94 a $1, de 94 centavos a $1. Si lo quieres ver subir una vez más a la parte alta del rango, estando por debajo de ella, tienes que asegurarte de no perder los 79 centavos, los 80 centavos, básicamente. Abajo de eso, nuke, al pene. 5 días. 5 días tenemos, algo de volatilidad. No, la volatilidad ya comienza casi a contraer. Está a nada, que es lo que tiene sentido viendo todos los demás temporalidades más altas. Tenemos este potente rechazo de la zona azul en el 50% y desde entonces hemos estado cayendo del 50% en esta nueva vela. Estamos por adentro en la zona azul. ¿Qué nos está deteniendo acá? Nuestro promedio del 21 que coincide con mi línea meme. De perder esta zona en los 81 centavos, siguiente parada, bueno, técnicamente será tu promedio del 34 en los 76 y de ahí podrás ver los 71. De no aguantar, vienes justamente a la línea meme, como dice Alex, al los 69 y si no, 63. Pero si llegas a caer así de fuerte, ya no te vas a llevar solo la zona azul, te vas al 61.8 o hasta el 88. Pero vamos a empezar con el 56 centavos. Vamos a la diaria. Diaria podemos ver por qué Cardano estaba en altos porcentajes. Solamente ver esto, literalmente, abro una tabla, estoy invertido en algo, como lo hice en Oclo, y está aquí, instantáneamente pongo mi orden de venta. Esto te está diciendo que es el tope y solamente existían 2.5% de probabilidades de continuar para arriba. Ahora, rechazo en la zona del 97.5% y ahora estamos cayendo en el 88.2%, que una vez más coincide perfectamente con mi línea meme por acá. De perder esta zona en los 80, vas muy probablemente bueno, tu siguiente parada tiene que ser tu SMA 200, tu promedio de 200, que está en los 68, básicamente esta línea meme en los 69, y esta es la diaria. Y habíamos dicho, volatilidad está simplemente contrayendo. ¡Wow! Ok. 4 horas. 4 horas, tienes ya el 9 bajando por el 21, por debajo del 21. No lo había hecho en todo este rally. Importantísimo tenerlo anotado. Nos está cachando el promedio del 100, que nos cachó ya una vez. De perder el promedio del 100, pero ahora tienen que ver esto del otro lado, en la de 4 horas. Nos dice que tal vez esta zona sí aguante en la de 4 horas. Pero si volteamos a ver la de 8 horas, ok, empieza a darnos más espacio. ¿Y dónde estábamos en la de 12? En la zona alta azul, diaria, hasta arriba. Ok, lo que esto nos está diciendo básicamente es que Cardano probablemente en este cierre de 4 horas se quede por donde está. Todo el HPDR, las barras bajen y eso puede ayudar a que veamos lo que estamos viendo en la diaria, en la semanal, 2 semanas, 5 días, bla, 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 cayendo a esto. Básicamente y bastante fácil, honestamente, de entender. Si eres alcista en Cardano, quieres básicamente llevarte el alto en esta vela, en los 95. Acá. Esto sería, vámonos para arriba. Pero si eres bajista en Cardano, esta zona va a ser importante a perder. Una vez que pierdas esta zona, vas a tener muy buenas probabilidades de dar continuación a la baja. Muy probablemente una vez más te cache el SMA 200 tantito y de ahí continúes a la baja. Se ve bajista, no tiene más. Está bastante fácil. Y además, te quieres aventar un long acá, lo tendrías que hacer en la parte baja de la vela, en los 81 centavos. Y la razón por la que lo podrías hacer es por cómo nos enseña la de 4 horas, en donde está en el HPDR. Y todavía le faltan 2 horas y 40 minutos para cerrar, por lo que podría tener un rebote. Pero ya lo tomó. Esta parte es lo que te estarías perdiendo y ya te estás perdiendo de cuánto. Igual y ya estamos ante este rebote, ¿eh? Sí, 2,5%. Puede que sí. Así que atentos ahí con Cardano. Los niveles están bastante sencillos. Les voy a dar mi tabla semanal para que los tengan. Acá. De acá sigue esto. Del 1.69, del 1.1 sigue en los 80 centavos. De 80 centavos, 69 centavos. Y abajo de 69 centavos este pollo ya se cocinó y vas a esperar a ver cuándo te llevas estos bajos. interesante. La operación correcta acá no es a la alza, aunque podrías esperar un rebote simplemente por esto, pero tu promedio del 9 ya está perdido. Tendríamos que analizar cómo poder entrar en short después, pero por ahora yo creo que el retesteo de perder esta línea es lo que nos daría ese delicioso short. En un segundo. Ok, les voy a enseñar cómo. Básicamente perdiendo esta línea, y aquí va a ser interesante porque tu invalidación será alta, pero una vez que caigas acá, el short tal vez lo quieras hacer acá en esta zona. Es una zona bastante importante y puedes ver por qué con toda esta consolidación de acá. Pero hasta entonces, hasta ahora, no tienes tanta dirección de operación. Parece que el rebote ya se dio y probablemente veamos continuación todo el día para abajo. Ahí lo tienen. All righty, sir. We're ready for some Tesla.
Sweet. All right. Let's take a look. Oh, I didn't share my screen. My bad. All right, nice.
It's Friday, though.
Yeah, that's the nice part.
There you go. And this. What the fuck is the other one?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. Nice. So where were we? So Tesla was at a very important spot. We were talking about the daily SMA 200 being a big spot that, we should see some kind of reaction. Now, we did see a reaction, but partially rejected resistance, and, we opened below it. We can see now price even rejected it, gave a pretty easy short, and we came down all the way to 263. Now what is happening? Well, Tesla's actually looking quite bad. I thought personally we are going to hold this a little longer and flirt with this $300 region. Do we have an Academy short on Tesla? 340.
I don't know if we did, but it had, I mean, we basically knew that if you lost 269, this was going to be fucking cooked to the downside.
Yeah,
and we had like, you called every single level too.
I think I gave one February 28th. Let me just see here. February 28th. Oh, right over here. No, yeah, we missed it. So yeah, I was expecting, I guess, in that time to get a bounce up to here. But you just see the weakness of Tesla if it's just rejecting this zone here at 300 and then just coming down. And then, the hopium is always when you reach these levels of a chart, which is just essentially previous highs of a range. And this is a big zone for Tesla because we've solidly been rejecting this. When you come up, you'd expect some reaction, but the fact that we're just harshly rejecting this makes me very concerned, and also losing the daily SMA 200 because that really hasn't occurred since January 2024, where, once after we lost that, Tesla ended up dumping 38%. So, we have to be very cautious here, but let's see what the HPDR says. So we are approaching the extreme. So, with the daily now at, hitting almost extremes, this move here we're probably going to get some kind of mean reversion bounce. So we obviously want to look at the daily trend, right? This is the last lower high, came down, made the lower low. So again, if you get any kind of rallies up, you need to be gauging this zone here at 280 as resistance just per the daily trend. It makes sense to at least test the daily 9 in confluence of the SMA 200. That rejection here, I mean, because we have the daily 9, which is a big spot for Tesla, with the SMA 200, that should give us some harsh rejection. And then we'd have to just see if 261 holds, because 261 is kind of the line in the sand for like the weekly. If you start losing 261, you're going to be losing the weekly EMA 100. Losing that really puts into question this SMA 200 holding. Now, obviously, we'll just mentally note that, that is a logical bounce zone. But generally, when we start losing the EMA 100 on the weekly for Tesla, that is what sparks the bigger move down. Here we see it even bigger move down. Lost it, but this was a bear trap, rallied up, held it as support, boom. So, we do see, this $300 zone is very important for Tesla. And B, that the weekly EMA 200 is very important. So today, you're going to need to see Tesla bounce from this point. If we close any weekly, or if we close today anywhere below like 260, 262.40. We'll be a little accurate here. 262.40. That to me would look really bad. We've then lost the weekly EMA 100, and then that probably is why we're probably going to get some bounce because of just where we're at on the weekly. We're at the extremes. Volatility on the daily is pretty much up there, but if we actually lose the zone into next week, we could get that rally, right? Dump into the weekly SMA 200, but then we get that move up, and then we could just retest that weekly EMA 100 if we don't hold it. This is what could be gearing up for Tesla into the later end of next week. I do think in the beginning of like Monday, Tuesday, we're probably going to see a bounce just because of how sold down this has been. It would make sense to get a rally up, but where that rally will go will be a big spot for me. Wow, we're even at the 100% on the weekly here. So this is kind of like a no-brainer. Should hold here, but into next week, these are going to shift. So you're going to have to gauge where this shifts. And for now, we're going to just be using the weekly EMA 100 because it's closing the day as our kind of criteria. Above that, it's very good. We're still holding the range. Could easily get a move back up to 299, 300. Below that, it's going to start really looking like this 263 is going to be flipped into resistance. And I want that to be proven to us into next week. The rally up, rejection, and then that's when the real move occurs. That way, then we can actually shed some of that daily volatility off. And then even so, yeah, I mean, 2 weeks just looking terrible. 300 is very big for Tesla. If we can get back above the 300 mark, I'll consider this. I'll be looking at this as a very good, meaning we can easily get a move back up to 335, possibly even 370s. But as long as you're under 300, you have to be very, very cautious of Tesla. And that's just how it's been. Under 300, dump. Lost 300, dump. Lost 300, dump. Lost 300, dump. So it's very important for Tesla, even here, 300. I mean, we just nuked from that point. So it's not out of Tesla's characteristic to really move down from this point. My whole analysis is let's see where the weekly goes, because that'll really dictate into next week if we're either going to put in a bearish retest or hold support and move up. Two very different scenarios in my, I will say. Monthly's not closing, but possibly a monthly range break here into February. So whenever Tesla loses at 300 on a monthly, we usually rally up, but then that rejection is pretty harsh. I mean, this is pretty evident here. Just solidly rejected it before going down. Rallied up, rejected. Yeah. That's not good. Really not good. Tesla, we saw monthly volatility expanding pretty nicely. Possibly into March, April, we could start seeing it reset. Meaning we could just start seeing this actually move down and break under the moving average. Last occurrence of that happening, let me see here. Went down here. So it's in this area. We went up a little bit more, but then once we essentially broke under the moving average, here is when we really started to go down for Tesla. So that's possibly what's going to be happening into March, April. It's really not looking good for Tesla. Damn. 5-day today is losing the EMA 100. It's lining up nicely with the weekly. It's closing in 3 days. So you have to watch this closely. But if the weekly loses this, it's going to really put implications on this 5-day not holding this zone. But again, this has been really sold off. So we should expect into next week some mean reversion bounce. That'll just really either dictate where you're going to go back up to 300 and reject, or reject at 262 for a very, very shallow lower high, in my opinion. But for what I'm seeing now, it seems like Tesla's downside is limited. Bears might just hold around here for the end of the day. I'll be honestly surprised if we start going under like 244. But I mean, even if bears just hold this here, it'll just play into this, then just becomes the range, which is off the EMA 100 and the SMA 200. Let's bounce off that, reject into next week, and then probably make our way closer to 216 to 197. That's a pretty important spot for Tesla. I think, is weekly also expanding? Oh, no, it almost gave us that setup. Yeah. Interesting. So, I mean, no matter how you look at it, Tesla's looking very bearish. I mean, it's on the verge right now of collapse. It's really just dependent, in my opinion, on, this 262 level. If you really start losing that and breaking away from that, as history has shown, that's just kind of been the spot for Tesla, for where bears take full control. Weekly volatility is nowhere near looking like it wants to slow down. And you can even just see it just in this regression right now. So I'd be very cautious if you're a Tesla bull. You really are going to get your determination into today's close. And if you start losing the weekly EMA 100, that's where it's just ultimate caution. If we get any kind of short squeeze, I'm looking at 340s as an ultimate short opportunity. And that's because your stop can be like at 367s. But until then, this is a lot harder to short now because, if you didn't take the short here and we didn't get the easy daily, because I actually remember I gave the short when we lost the EMA 100 here. And I thought and it was right around here. And I thought we'd get one more move up, hit 340s and then nuke, but we just did not. And that's kind of annoying because stocks front ran my bid by like $10. Tesla front ran my bid by a few dollars. But at least hopefully some people saved money because I did go into this month being very bearish on stocks. And I was saying pretty heavily that what we're seeing on Bitcoin is making me really wonder if the easy money's in stocks now. Like we understand Bitcoin's going to go down and it is breaking down, but a lot of these stocks did not yet. And that's what was kind of giving me an easy short opportunity. But now that's gone. There's no easy shorts here. It's quite hard and quite aggressive. And even if you rally up to this point next week, you easily could go up, wick up, and then dump. So that's why it's a very hard zone. Stick to the levels, level by level. Use this weekly close to determine how next week's going to go. Losing the weekly EMA 100 greatly increases the chances of us opening next week to a rally. We probably get that rally from the SMA 200. Or start holding above 263, and now we're back in this range. All is averted for the bear, or for just bears taking control, and we can be looking at this as a range. And I do think that lines up with kind of right around the daily 9, not really. So as it stands, though, I'm going to be on the camp that Tesla's going to be putting in more of like a shallow bearish retest into next week, and this will move. But I just think that people thinking Tesla's just going to squeeze because it's just been down only, and how much lower can it go? I think that's going to really just be a trap. So be very cautious of this, Tesla bulls. It's not looking good. This isn't a very strong downtrend on the weekly. And, in my opinion, Tesla's very close to capitulating if we start really losing November 4th low, in my opinion. That easily could capitulate us down and test the 214 zone. So, and then remember, if we go to 214, could just be in a range. Bounce from 214, test 263. It could just be like that for a while. Maybe wicks down to 200. So we're at a pretty important spot here. Watch closely today and really gauge the weekly EMA 100.
Yeah, it's going to take a little time. Yeah, I'm not muted. Okay. It's going to take a little time to get there. I think Tesla's going to 180, 183 eventually. Not right now, but this zone is going to be it. Tesla is another one. If you're gauging the stock market with certain stocks, for me, this is what tells me there's more downside because I want to think that I know what Rivian is doing, and I want to think that I know what Tesla is doing because I don't know, from the past and from what I've done and from everything he's doing just makes sense. And it's just, listen, you still have to go through the really bad times, right? Let's say that I'm right. Let's say that I'm listening to what Scott Besson and Trump and Musk had said from day one, and that literally happens. Do you understand the feeling when we go into a recession and how everyone is going to blame Tesla and Elon Musk?
100%. Yeah.
So you think you've seen the end of that? No, it hasn't even started. So no. I think there's plenty of room to go. I wouldn't dare to say that he's going to go to 140 again. That would be incredible.
That would be,
I think you just go make your lower high.
And your zone's right around my 193s. So it definitely could get close to that. But even what you're saying, Tesla's chart is telling us that this is breaking down today. And that's kind of what the ES1 was telling us. And that's kind of what like we're saying on Bitcoin today. So it's kind of, unless we get that stupid green dildo up before close, it's kind of looking like things are on the verge of a major breakdown into next week.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed. I think there's plenty of room to go before anything just gets normalized. And again, the dollar is telling me that. So let's see. Let's motherfucking see. By the way, I'm going to do a little plug for anyone that wants to join us in our Discord. And I'm going to do it in English because we're talking right now. Come on over to our Discord. There's a link in the video down below. If you're on Twitter, Alex, do you mind posting under my post where we're live streaming the link to BTCC? It's on YouTube. I got all of the links so that I don't waste 30 hours myself doing this. Sorry, I should do it myself, but I forgot. So we're going to post the link right here. Alex is going to post the link so you can come to the Discord, chat with everyone. It's super simple to use. All of the menus are on the left. This is Farhan's analysis, Alex analysis. And you guys know this is good because he doesn't have my analysis. So there you go. You know you're going to be in the positive all the time. Come share your P&L cards with us. Let us know that you made a fortune thanks to trading with some degenerates. And the community is awesome. I personally really like coming into the chat, the general chat, because it for ideas. I see everyone discussing this and that, and everyone has a lot of ideas. And I see a lot of people leaning onto people that are here. I think it's brilliant to trade with others because sometimes you're not seeing something or your bias is not allowing you to see that. Here it is. Crypto lingo, I'm sure you guys are traders, but if there's anything in here that you don't understand, like H1, H4, IMO, deviations, BRs, blah, 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 anything that we say here or that you get to see on the Discord, it's right here on Crypto Lingo. Some people have given us some reviews. Here's our partner links and whatnot. And you guys can do it right now, right here, and trade with us. Also, if you want to come over to our website, which, by the way, absolutely free just to visit it, believe it or not. Coming to the how-tos, if you want to trade futures with us anywhere in the world, this is Bluffin. So how to trade on Bluffin is absolutely free, guys. You watch this 5-minute video. It tells you exactly how to deposit and fund your account. It shows you how to operate futures, how to open a long, how to open a short, and all you need to do is use this website, this direct link right here, so you can go to the right website, no fuckery. And also on our link, you're going to find our link to BTCC. BTCC allows us to trade futures of stocks like Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, etc. And they're tokenized just like this. And if you want to know how to operate on BTCC, it's the same thing as in here. So, and it's in English. Everything is in English and in Spanish, so you don't have to worry about that. And the link is right there too. And we also are giving away we're having a trading tournament for $60,000 in USDT that we're going to split to the first 5 places on the tournament. All you need to do is sign up with our link that Alex is posting right underneath us or on the YouTube comment section. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to this.
The YouTube, because I'm not a member.
No, not on YouTube. Like I got it now that I'm out. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go into YouTube and just post it on Twitter. The thing is, on X, I didn't. Yeah,
I see.
It's my absolute bad. Give me, guys, 1 second. I'll get to it. Just 1 second. Here's this. Got it.
All right, cool.
Oh, what a moron, dude. I have like the clean links on my WhatsApp. Excellent. I'm a genius. I'm a lyrical genius, motherfucker. You guys watch the South Park episode on Kanye? Pretty good. Pretty good. He's a gay fish.
Fish sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves fish sticks. Here's the links for everyone. All righty. I'll get started. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Share this tab instead. Vámonos con Tesla. Rápidamente el análisis de Tesla. Esto, damas y caballeros, si quieren usar Tesla o Rivian, por ejemplo, para medir el mercado, qué tanto puede caer más, etcétera. Esto es donde estoy yo, personalmente, viendo Tesla caer como ha caído. No, quiero que todos ustedes hagan mucho dinero, pero voy a decir algo muy egoísta. Yo vendí Tesla por ahí de los 2.30 y cacho, 2.40. Fue la única que corrió más arriba de lo que vendí. Bueno, que corrió muchísimo más de lo que vendí, pero Rivian no me falló y ninguna de las otras. Entonces, ahora Tesla está regresando al precio donde la dejé Estoy emocionado de volver a entrar. ¿Dónde voy a volver a entrar? Personalmente creo que la zona de los 180 va a ser inevitable. Va a tomar bastante tiempo en llegar ahí. La razón por qué lo digo y por qué no creo que vaya a haber un rebote en Tesla pronto es sencillo. Si estoy en lo correcto, estoy escuchando a Elon, estoy escuchando a Trump, estoy escuchando a Bessent, sin escuchar noticias, sin escuchar a otros idiotas reportando la noticia y diciéndome lo que piensan, literalmente de sus bocas. Y digamos que me están diciendo la verdad y vamos a ir a una recesión. ¿Saben cuánta gente le va a echar la culpa a Elon Musk por la recesión? Porque no entiende ni vergas. Todos. Esto quiere decir que Tesla tiene que bajar a huevo. ¿Ok? En mi punto de vista. Al igual que Rivian. Rivian ya tocó los 10, ya está aquí justamente en mi línea. Una vez que la rompas acá, nos vamos para abajo. Así que ahí está. Bastante sencillo puesto. Son precios que entiendo muy bien por alguna razón. No sé, tal vez porque los veo todo el tiempo y porque soy un degenerado, eso sí. Tenemos Tesla por acá en la de 3 meses, podemos ver exactamente el efecto. Uy, en la trimestral ya perdemos el promedio del 9, que está en los 260. Perder en la trimestral el promedio del 9 para nosotros entra ya en el marco de esto es un mercado bajista y pueden ver que cada que hemos perdido el 9, hemos tenido este tipo de caídas potentes al 34. El 34 está en los 174 y nunca hemos caído del 34, lo que aún me da más confluencia que Tesla va a poder encontrar un piso por ahí de los 183, 184, 190 cuando lo haga. No, a menos de que esto caiga mucho más por cualquier otra razón, bueno, eso ya será otra cosa. Pero por ahora, perdiendo el promedio del 9, nos pone en una situación bajista, bastante sencilla de entender. Teníamos expansión, pero volatilidad está apuntando para abajo y está a punto de contraer una vez más, así que no hay nada por acá. Vamos a la mensual. Mensual empezamos a tener un poco de lo mismo, altos más altos, con bajos más altos, pero pueden ver, esta es mi parte favorita de esto. ¿Por qué esta es mi parte favorita? Porque pueden ver, esta línea verde, por encima, máximos históricos, pero por debajo, ¿vamos a dónde? La primera vez que la perdimos, llegamos a la zona de los 100, recuerdan, donde todo el mundo decía que Tesla se iba a los $40 por acción, $80 por acción, bla, 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 y puro palo, ¿no? La segunda fue cuando Ross Gerber decidió vender todas sus acciones de Tesla en los 140 en el fondo. Ese gran analista que gana dinero literalmente diciéndole a la gente cómo invertir, que vendió todo acá, que dijeron que nunca se va a recuperar Tesla y de ahí nos llevaron a altos históricos. Vamos a ver cuánto se perdió Ross al no entrar en estos 140 que nosotros sí entramos porque vimos el teatro de payasos. Un 248%. ¿Cuánto se perdió el tío Salo? ¿Cuánto ganó el tío Salo? Vamos a ver. Solamente un 69%. Me lleva la verga. Ni modo, a veces se gana y no tanto. Pero ahora tenemos que esperar. Y yo estoy esperando a que encontremos otra vez un suelo por ahí, más o menos y muy parecido a este. Y eso será el escenario muy probablemente que se dé, donde puedes ver que siempre hemos respetado esta línea de tendencia. Esta línea de tendencia en realidad viene desde acá atrás. Y vamos muy probablemente a encontrar un piso en esta zona. Por ahí donde está el promedio de los 100, de las 100 sesiones en los 172, que va a continuar subiendo. De nuevo, este es un gráfico mensual. Hemos roto la tendencia alcista sin lugar a dudas, lo pueden ver, y ahora estamos una vez más en la parte de contracción de precio. ¿Qué tanto va a bajar? Ahí vamos a tener que llevarlo poco a poco, pero ya les di mi objetivo, que normalmente nunca lo hago. Así que el güey ese que está en todos mis comentarios diario, poniendo clips de hace 3 años, guarda este clip, igual y te sirve en otros 5 años. Igual y me estoy equivocando muy cabrón. Ahí les va esta. En la de 2 semanas tenemos volatilidad ya contrayendo después del tope. En la contracción de volatilidad hemos tenido esta caída y la mala noticia es que la contracción de volatilidad viene de muy arriba y continúa su camino para abajo, lo que me dice que probablemente veamos más de esto. Teorías de vela, esta es una vela topera y nos dio confirmación y de ahí hemos caído brutalmente. Es un poco de lo mismo, ya perdimos el 9, perdimos el promedio del 21, perdimos el 24 y ahora estamos perdiendo el 55 y nos vamos en camino a los 231, que es donde está nuestro promedio del 100. Esto sumado a básicamente esto nos dice que Tesla va a necesitar por un rato consolidar en esta zona. Muy probablemente no vaya a continuar rápidamente y eso es lo que yo les estaba diciendo, que esto no va a pasar de la noche a la mañana. Se va a tardar un chingo en caer a los 180 y cancho. Estamos hablando de probablemente de aquí a medio año, a fin de año. Ese es para que lo tengan también en mente, porque luego dicen, güey, no cayó a 180 y después lo hace. Estoy hablando de literalmente 6 a 9 meses. Esto va a tomar en caer y esto lo confirma. Vamos a la semanal. Semanal ya tenemos nuestro 9 cruzando por debajo del 21. Todavía no se da, pero está a nada. La última vez que eso pasó tuvimos esta caída y ahora estamos acá una vez más en el 100%, lo que nos dice que probablemente vayamos a consolidar en esta zona por un rato, invitando a toda la gente a comprar lo que ellos van a creer es el fondo y después muy probablemente tengamos un pompazo, por cierto, hasta esta zona de los 334 y no me sorprendería de ahí ver el rechazo a la baja, porque Tesla también es muy volátil. No vamos a decir que solamente va a bajar en línea recta. Tienes expansión de volatilidad ante la caída también, que es brutal, y esta expansión de volatilidad todavía le queda bastante camino, está solamente en 62%. Aquí empezó a expandir la volatilidad, así que este movimiento todavía tiene bastante fuerza. Vamos a ver la de 5 días. 5 días nos dice exactamente lo mismo. Exactamente. Todo lo que les acabo de decir es idéntico a la semanal. Y déjeme veo 3 días. 3 días y un día es la que a mí me gustan en Tesla. Ok. Diaria. La de 3 días nos dice también 230, 236 más o menos es donde vamos a encontrar ese suelito de consolidación por acá. Y en la diaria, me imagino que estamos... ¿Dónde está eso? 236. La parte del 97% está en 236. Lo que me hace pensar que sí, efectivamente, ahí les va. Bastante sencillo, honestamente, en Tesla. Lo vamos a poner en la semanal. Ah, perfecto. Ok. En la semanal lo tienen acá. Una vez más, queremos expansión de precio, tenemos que estar por encima de 334 para ir a buscar datos históricos, que es bastante lejos de donde estamos ahorita. Vamos a caer siempre y cuando estemos debajo de 269, ¿es el número correcto? Sí, 269, por supuesto. Tesla tiene que jugar con los memes. Lo que estoy esperando y lo que estamos viendo en este momento, además de que esta caída está empujada por la brutal volatilidad, es esto. Es lo que estoy esperando. Este chopeo va a tomar bastante tiempo. No crean que va a ser algo rápido. Y ahora, ¿vale la pena entrar en un long, la chingada? Yo pondría mi long aquí abajo, en la zona de los 247. Pues invalídalo con esta vela. La cosa es, tienes que encontrar una invalidación apretada para este movimiento. Y para encontrar una invalidación apretada en este movimiento, pues no es tan fácil, a menos de que vamos a rascarle en la diaria. Tampoco la diaria tiene esto. Y por cierto, déjenme quito mis promedios y quito esto, el brush. Quiero que vean que este gap se vino a llenar, ¿no? Lo pueden ver acá. Este gap lo llenó. Aquí todavía queda un gap. ¿Ok? Y este gap se cierra en los 2.17. Puede ser una trampa, pero ese es el siguiente gap en los 2.17. Entonces, para mí, esta va a ser una zona importante donde probablemente vayamos a hacer esto, testear a la gente, ir para arriba, decir no se va a cerrar el gap, después cerrar el gap y continuar a la baja. No hay un trade claro en este momento, ni para arriba ni para abajo. Lo que hay más posibilidades es de un long en este momento por ver cómo está el HPDR, pero de nuevo, no existe una invalidación en corto. La invalidación más corta está en 240 antes de ir a literalmente 217. Así que ahí tienen exactamente Tesla. Le voy a dar un pasón a Rivian. Rivian, que me lo han estado pide y pide y pide, bastante fácil. Saben que es esto, de nuevo, tenemos que ser en este canal de los mejores analistas de Rivian en el mercado. No nos ha engañado una sola vez con esto. La razón por qué lo digo es porque Rivian está yendo a través de lo mismo y Rivian tuvo la misma fiebre que tuvo la gente de Tesla. Y podemos ver que exactamente caímos por acá. Esto está a punto de cerrarse y esto muy probablemente vaya a dar continuación a la baja. Va a caer, recuerden, vimos Tesla. La cosa en Tesla es estos bajos nunca se los vaya, en mi opinión va a ser muy difícil que nos lo llevemos. Se puede dar, nadie está diciendo que no, se puede dar que nos llevemos esta línea de tendencia, pero esta línea de tendencia ya lleva un rato, o sea, aguantó en la primera y aguantó en la segunda, probablemente aguante en la tercera. Pero Rivian, por ejemplo, puede que esté en esa situación por primera vez en su historia. Hasta ahora está aguantando esta línea. Esta línea sería todo. La cosa es el timing de esto. El timing de una empresa que vende vehículos ante una economía que probablemente vaya a contraer o esté contrayendo, muy probablemente nos lleve al siguiente nivel. De llevarnos a los 10 y borrar estos mínimos en 9.50, yo no creo que vayamos a hacer un doble piso. Yo creo que sí vamos a ver un fondo final. Y esa sería la capitulación. Para mí, yo voy a empezar a entrar en 10, voy a comprar en 9, en 8, en 7 y voy a poner órdenes en 6. Y mientras más baja, más grande va a ser mi orden. ¿Ok? Esa es mi idea que tengo en esta operación en Rivian. No tengo prisa. Esto para mí va a ser simplemente algo que voy a dejar por años porque Rivian, en mi opinión, tiene mucho potencial, etcétera. Pero por ahora podemos ver lo cansado del movimiento de Rivian. Está aguantando perfectamente donde tiene. Vamos a ponerle HPDR para darnos una idea. Ok, dale 30 minutos a que cargue. Ah, qué pendejo soy. Ahí está. Pueden ver, tiene bastante camino a la baja. Y justamente esta línea coincide con el uf. Y aparte, volatilidad está a punto de expandir por encima del promedio debajo de 15%, tíos. En la semanal. No, tal vez Rivian sí se vaya a buscar nuevos mínimos. Tesla no, pero Rivian sí. Ahí lo tienes. All right, Alex, let's see what's going on. I see you.
What do we have next?
What do we got next? We got Coinbase.
Oh, nice. So I think Powell is talking now, and I think we have the crypto summit soon. So it's going to be an interesting day. There we go.
One second, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's me. I'm just answering to the people on the chat, on the LE chat. There you go. And now we said Coinbase. Excellent.
So let's see here. My 55's on. So Coinbase definitely didn't do our consolidation scenario we wanted. Let me delete the LARP line. And that was just really based on the 21. We saw the 21 on the weekly. It's always been a big spot for Coinbase. You know, as soon as we lost that, we've just been steadily going down. Now we're at a big zone, which is the weekly EMA 100. There's not a lot of price action with this, but with what we do have, we do see that often it does like to make, you know, nice bottoms around here if it can hold. So far, the last 2 weeks, we've seen pretty nice bounces off that EMA 100 on Coinbase. So, you know, we have to be cautious of this being, you know, a zone to hold. But also, if we start losing it, it's going to be a really good determination that Coinbase is probably going to go a lot lower. And my next spot is right around 180. You know, so till then, we could be caught in a very tight range here on Coinbase. That's kind of what we're seeing, you know, little rallies up, rejections down. We got to see a follow through. For me to say, you know, this is looking more like a bottom, I'd want to really start seeing Coinbase first reclaimed above 236. Can be above the daily 9, reclaim the SMA 200, and then we can make a move up to this $260 region. This is a big zone for me on Coinbase because if we can reclaim that 260, it's like 265, I'll really be thinking that Coinbase, this was nothing more than, you know, a major bear trap. Coinbase put in a major bottom, and it's going to be looking like we're going to be moving up to the $300 zone, if not all the way to 336. So that's why these two spots are very important for Coinbase. And as long as that daily EMA 9 is rejecting us. We have to be cautious here because of the fact that the daily is still in the silver cross posturing. And even if we rallied up from this point, we still haven't tested the daily SMA 200 since we lost it. And we see the 21, which is the second place for the silver cross retest, is sitting right at that SMA 200. So even if you get a nice move up, we still have major resistance right here. And that's why that 236 spot's kind of like my line in the sand to say, okay, we can go up. But until then, I'm going to be looking at this zone as more probable to reject us. And we would already be cautious just because of, January's or last month's closure, essentially in February. We lost the monthly 9, and, we understand that when we lose a monthly 9 on Coinbase, it works a little different because it likes to range and chop around the 21, but we always, after losing the 21, get a free move after losing the monthly 9, we generally get a free move to the monthly 21. I mean, generally, it doesn't always have to work like that. It just has. So we got that move down. We got the bounce. As long as we're, again, above like support here at $210, it's looking okay for bulls. But what you'll notice is right around the meme line here, top of this channel, right around the daily SMA 200, and also right around the monthly 9 is a pretty big spot because we're seeing that 227 is a big zone for Coinbase. We could rally all the way up and still be under the monthly 9, which would put this in, kind of bear territory, in my opinion. So a very crucial spot to start seeing bulls push this up, and it's going to start on the daily. It's going to start with us holding above 210 and moving up from here, reclaiming the SMA 200, which is basically any daily closure above 236, would start really looking good to at least test the EMA 100. But on this aggressive breakdown, all you're going to be doing is testing levels until we're back above 265. That's why 265 is extremely important for me, because even if let's say I'm wrong and we don't dump and we nicely rally up, all this could be is just a retest of the EMA 100. While also, if we look at like the 5-day, could just put in another lower high exactly at that EMA 21. So, this is a little harder for me to see Coinbase, because I do think we can bounce or consolidate here, but it's like I'm not going to be talking about, we're for sure going to move up to 236, because as long as we're under that daily 9, there's no indication of that. We're just in this tight range. We can easily go back to like 226, go back down to 210, but until we get either a move up or down, it's going to be kind of looking like, in my opinion, Tesla, like it's just on the verge. It, has been going down aggressively. It can go down more, but in my opinion, I do think, we should be looking for something like this. Wait for the loss of support, and then try to get the short on the bearish retest of it. If you start reclaiming this $210 zone, just cut the short, because for me now, it's like you could start shorting and playing the silver cross, but you're going to run the risk of support holding. On top of that, if we look at the weekly here, anytime now. Did I turn something off? What the heck? Am I still live? Oh, sweet. Are you still, I think I'm still there. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, my apologies. My internet just got a little slow there. Should be gauging some kind of bounce here. I mean, the EMA 100's right here. It's a big zone, but don't get it twisted though, because even if we get a nice move up, I do think that that's going to be short-lived. We need to be really gauging 265 as a major spot. I do think if we start really getting back up the daily SMA 200, we can make a move to 265. But I'm going to be looking at that as a short opportunity. And why I'm saying that is because, we made a weekly lower low. I want to gauge the lower high somewhere around here at 244 to 254. If we can do that, that'll look like a weekly lower high. We got the bounce, trapped bulls, and then we can actually nuke down. Once we really start closing, specifically weeklies under $210, it's going to look like the next move for Tesla, for Coinbase, not Tesla, is going to be 180, if not all the way at 160, which is pretty detrimental. So you know, it's like on this chart, it looks like to me next week we could see a bounce, but depending on how big of a bounce we get, it just seems like next week stocks, like majority of stocks are gearing up for a rally, yes, but that rally just looks like it's going to be like met with a bunch of bearish retests, lower highs, before getting follow through. Unless, of course, today we, get a nice bounce. But even today, you're seeing Tesla is on the edge right now. We're barely holding on to 210. Daily's already barely green, and we're starting to reject the daily 9, which is just another retest of the silver cross. So you just want to be very cautious here. I'm not bullish on Tesla. My line in the sand here is 265. Until then, we can easily rally up to that point again and form a weekly lower high right around the weekly 21. But I'm looking like this is Tesla's on the verge. I do think we can bounce in the next week, but how big of a bounce we'll get is a big question. Let's see if we have any volatility setups. Okay, nothing on the weekly. 5-day. Nothing. Interesting. So the 3-day is actually giving us a setup. And we see, upon expansion, that gave us a pretty meaty move. We've had a 27% move so far. It's insane. And what's even more insane is volatility is only at 50%. And we've seen before this easily can go up to the 90%. So this is looking quite bad. Even the 3-day, wow. 3-day is not good at all because you see we're losing the EMA 100 and we've been under that for multiple closures now. Yeah, possible. Yeah, it's looking to me like, it's like once $210, once we lose $210, I would, if I was a Tesla Coinbase bull, I don't know why I keep saying Tesla. If I was a Coinbase bull, I'd be very cautious here because with the 3-day expanding, the 3-day losing the EMA 100, a spot that's been big support, and the fact that we're just clinging on to that $210 region really makes me feel or seem like it's highly probable for Coinbase to break down to the 180 soon, in my opinion. Now, unless we reclaim this EMA 100 on the 3-day, as long as we're under this, I don't think we're going to get a rally up to 265. I think we're just going to dump from here. Yeah.
Looks pretty doomish.
It does, because losing this, rejecting it, 3 days expanding, and you just see it's a big drop off once we lose that 210. And even so, it's like 181 to 148 is my range, and the 3-day SMA 200 is creeping up around there. So it's really not looking good. And even the 3 days in a breakdown, lost to 38.2%, rallied up, rejected it. To me, this seems ready to go. I'd be very cautious of this. I was thinking maybe we'd get a move up to 265, but now I'm not so sure. I'd rather be more comfortable saying if we get a daily closure above 230, okay, we could make an argument for a move up to 260s to 250s, but as long as we're under that 3-day EMA 100, it's looking highly probable that we're going to at least test this wick low at 192, break it, and we're probably going to go to 180. So, yeah, that's not very good for bulls, honestly. Let's see the 2-day volatility, nothing. Seems like it's front running slightly that 2-day 9, which the 2-day isn't a fresh silver cross. Just something to note occurred this closure. So, last closure, I mean. So, yeah, bears are in control on Coinbase. It seems like 210 is the spot, 210 to 211. You lose that, we're probably gonna go to 180s. So that's all I really have. I mean, gauge, in my opinion, and move back to the SMA 200 with the daily 9. If you reclaim the daily 9, probably gonna get a move up to the daily 21, which kind of lines up around the SMA 200. But as long as even the daily EMA 9 is rejecting with the daily silver cross and the 2-day silver cross is freshly occurred, you have to be really cautious of us breaking down from this point and going to 180s.
Yes, indeed, sir. Fucking look at how doomy this shit looks. Absolutely. Yeah. And also, it's following crypto, right? I feel like it's only holding in here, doing everyone a favor until they actually reveal what's going to happen. And crap.
I think the conference is soon. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I actually don't know, but it should be close because it's close to 12 p.m. Eastern time. Well, it's actually 1 p.m. Eastern time. No idea. Should be happening now, but I don't see any aggressive moves.
Yeah, our tweets.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not on Twitter, but yeah. Thank you, sir. We're doing Celsius to finish this.
Cool.
Estamos viendo Coinbase, damas y caballeros. No pinta bien la cosa. Vamos a empezar de lejos para ver exactamente todas las zonas, qué es lo que estamos viviendo en este momento. Pueden ver que Coinbase viene de este alto histórico que fue justo cuando salió en el 2021 públicamente a 429.54 fue el máximo por acá. Desde entonces hicimos un alto más bajo, alto más bajo, alto más bajo y seguimos por encima del 9, lo que nos dice todavía no podemos decir que esto está acabado. Volatilidad está contrayendo al punto más bajo de la historia, que es 80% en este gráfico trimestral, que es casi irrelevante a este punto. Mensual un poco de lo mismo. Tenemos los altos más bajos y continuamos en este momento. Habíamos podido agarrar esta línea de tendencia desde enero del 2023, que fue justamente lo que coincidió con todo el rally para arriba, con todas esas malas noticias de cripto. Nos van a cerrar todos los puentes, el SEC va a demandar a todo el mundo, no se puede hacer nada, pum, 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 hasta arriba, güey. Y ahora estando hasta arriba, nos están prometiendo el cielo y las estrellas, vamos a ver. Pero mínimo en la mensual ya perdimos el promedio del 9, lo que me hace bajista, lo perdimos en la vela pasada. Y ahora estamos acá, una vez más, lo retesteamos y sigue la caída. Nos aguantó el 21, que nos dio ese delicioso rebote, volatilidad está contrayendo al punto más bajo de toda la historia en la tabla, lo que a algún punto nos va a dar un setup bastante potente, diría yo, en este gráfico mensual. Me veo rápido con el HPDR, ¿cómo se ve? En el HPDR estoy seguro que vamos a encontrar bastantes confluencias en la mensual, efectivamente. También la media. Rebotamos justamente en la media y eso nos está llevando nos intentó llevar a la parte alta de la zona azul en los 250. Podríamos ver un rebote hasta la zona de los 250, pero de no aguantar los 195, muy probablemente 160 sería mi siguiente parada, pero de no hacerlo, 150. Y ahí tienes que tener cuidado de no llevarte este bajo. Te llevas este bajo en los 146, muy probablemente vayamos a la zona, no mames, a la que sigue para abajo ni la voy a decir. Vamos a continuar siendo optimistas en este pedo. 2 meses, 2 semanas. 2 semanas ya estamos cayendo de la zona azul. Tenemos el rechazo de la media justo con este velongo. Una vela de tope también del libro. Después de la vela de tope tenemos follow through con esta caída. Y luego intentamos rebotar a la parte del 50%, pero tenemos el rechazo y ahora estamos cayendo en el 61.8%. De no poder aguantar los 220.73, muy probablemente vayamos a caer a los 177 y todavía faltan 7 días y 2 horas para este cierre, por lo que en las próximas 2 semanas podríamos ver esto de no pasar la zona de los 237. Así que ojo ahí. Semanal nos cuenta un poco de lo mismo que vimos en la de 2 semanas. Tenemos el rechazo de la media por acá. Esta es una vela de indecisión, una vela topera. Pero esta es una vela topera y acá tienes lo que sigue. Ok. Y ahora nos está rechazando el 61.8% y podríamos caer hasta la zona de los 210. Eso no sería tan devastador, nos podría aguantar bien. De no aguantar la zona de los 210, una vez más, 180 vuelve a aparecer en el libro y ahí estaríamos viendo. Volatilidad no está haciendo nada, estaba expandiendo en esta caída, pero ahora está volteándose a la baja, así que ya no nos está dando este empuje fuerte a la baja. Pero de que la volatilidad una vez más empuje a la alza, todavía donde está, si ven eso en la semanal, podríamos ver completamente otra cosa. Faltan 2 horas y 50 minutos para cerrar esta vela y de nuevo, 2.29 la parte alta, 2.10 la parte baja. 3 días. 3 días tenemos este setup de volatilidad que nos dio la caída y desde la caída ha continuado expandiendo, pero está expandiendo no a la misma velocidad y eso nos está dando probablemente esta consolidación por acá. Estamos en una vela de indecisión en la de 3 días y puede cerrar en 221 hasta los 203. De perder esa zona va a ser brutal. Los 211 es una zona muy importante para Tesla. Diaria, rechazo el promedio del 9, ya teniendo el 9 por debajo del 21, tienes un cruce plateado bastante lejos acá, atrás, y estás viendo la caída. Tiene cara que quiere consolidar, nos apoyamos en la 9, nos apoyamos en la media y con eso rebotamos, pero el 9 nos está rechazando. De rechazarnos el 9 el día de hoy, tal cual, nuestra más alta probabilidad es ir a la parte baja de la zona azul en 198.20. Y eso es justamente donde creo que es mínimo a donde vamos al siguiente paso, a los 190. La razón por qué estamos aguantando por acá, solamente para simplificar todo el análisis de esto, estamos aguantando en esta zona. Todavía la tendencia alcista continúa, ¿no? Sin lugar a dudas, porque está aguantándonos acá. Pero de perder este wick en 193, que nos está sugiriendo la tabla que probablemente vayamos a los 190, de perder esto, siguiente punto van a ser los 176, 180. Y ahí es donde creemos que va a ir Coinbase. Aunque puede tener un rebote, no sé si vaya a llegar, y es justo lo que dice Alex, a los 230, pero de ahí ese rebote sería simplemente para hacer altos más bajos y dar continuación a lo que estamos viviendo en este momento. Así que Coinbase, sin sorpresa para nadie, continúa en esta caída y no hay, ¿cómo se dice? No hay nada que lo frene. Si es que cripto continúa a donde está apuntando y toda la economía tal cual a donde está apuntando continúan a la baja, Coinbase no tiene por qué subir. No hay como un negocio independiente de eso, porque todos sus activos son criptos. Entonces tenemos que poner y pelar el ojo bastante bien acá por cualquier cosa y ver dónde va a estar la oportunidad. La oportunidad sería, si llega a haber un rally por acá en los 230, sería lo mejor, porque puedes literalmente acá medir una entrada para hacer un corto y lo puedes hacer en BTCC en esta zona, con una invalidación en los 232, en la parte más alta de esta vela, que es 232.23. No, 233.40. Aquí pondría mi invalidación y tal vez una entrada por acá en esta zona en los 230. Eso sería el trade más fácil de todos, porque lo que sería es bla, 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 pum, y bolas, güey, para abajo una vez más. Perdón, ya estoy viejo, se me salen los eruptos de la nada, brothers. Ahí está, es lo que estamos viendo en este momento con Coinbase. Nada diferente a lo que hemos estado viendo en todas las demás tablas. Así que ahí lo tienen. Vamos a analizar Celsius. Vamos a ver Celsius. ¿Cuál es el logo de Celsius? CELH.
Nice. All right. Let's see here. So Celsius is pretty easy to me because, I'm liking the way the weekly is looking in confluence to the monthly. We see here that this $27.50 region is very, very big for Celsius. I mean, this is what basically was holding our lows in 2023, 2022, and what was marking the breakdowns, So this spot is very important. We see it's important because also the weekly 9's there, but also right around this zone on the monthly, you see here that we've actually reclaimed that EMA 100, back tested this channel. The only thing holding this monthly is, in my opinion, $27.50. So if you're trading Celsius, how could we cipher this? Well, obviously the monthly's going to take too long. So how I'm looking at this is if the weekly can start reclaiming specifically above $27.50, I'm going to be looking at that as a good sign for us to go at minimum to $29.70. But right, if we're reclaiming this range here, we should be looking at the top of the range, which is at $34.59. So it's actually going to be really crucial this week, or I guess today, for Celsius to reclaim above the weekly 9. It's been a very big spot for Celsius to reject. We also see the weekly is in a silver cross to the downside. So, this is a big zone right here. And we see that just with the weekly 9 lining up with the meme line, that we're going to need to see that get reclaimed today. Oh, wow. And you can even see that the weekly median is right around there as well. And getting back to the weekly median and the meme line and the weekly 9 would just be a really good sign to move up. Again, you can just see that number right at the 38.2% at $31. It's lining up right around the weekly 21. And then also the 34 is right around the 61.8%. So, it's all dependent on $27.50. specifically all dependent on today's close. Get back above this, it's going to really look good into next week that we could possibly move up. See that too. The 2-week 9 is also right around the zone at $27.50. So no matter really how you look at it, it seems to me $27.50 is extremely important for Celsius and will determine upside for me. Until then, though, this trend is still down, so there's more of a chance of us to reject here. Remember, this is a 2-week silver cross to the downside even. So this would be the logical spot. Resistance, also mean line resistance. We have the 2-week EMA 9 silver cross. That's why I'm saying today it's going to be really crucial to actually get back above that 27.50. If not, this is the logical place to reject and start moving back down at minimum to $24. And if we start really taking out this low, I'm going to be looking at potentially $13 to $14 within the middle of this year. Potentially, you know, it all will depend on the SMA 200, but yeah, I mean, it's very simple chart. It's very straightforward, and I do think sticking to the higher time frames will help mitigate that chop. You even see that daily EMA 100s at $29. I like that view because that's lining up with what we were saying on the weekly, which is, you start getting back above that weekly 9, you can easily make a move up to the 21, which is lining up nicely with the daily EMA 100. That's going to be a big spot though, because this is the second logical place for the weekly silver cross to reject us. And also getting back above the daily EMA 100 would be something we haven't seen since we lost it in June of 2024. Reactions, once we were under it for a while, I mean, there's always a reaction once we reclaim it. Reclaimed it, reaction, reclaimed it, reaction. So that could be your kind of nice line in the sand. It's like, if the daily can start reclaiming, if like today we can reclaim 27.50 cents, it's going to really start looking like possibly this monthly is going to start moving up because the way this monthly is developing is pretty nice. And even if it moved from this point to the 9, that still would be from, let's say 27.50, that still would be a 23% bounce. So, it looks like the monthly is gearing up for a potential reversal here based on this SFP. I'm not convinced yet, and that's why I want to use the daily EMA 100 in confluence to the weekly and 2-week EMA 9. If we can start reclaiming those regions, I then will feel better of this monthly actually testing the 21 again. I mean, not the 21, the 9 again, which is sitting at right at the top of this channel, our resistance, big level here on Celsius, and $34 will be the big break. If we can break that, we really can start moving like first to $40 and possibly all the way to like 49. So this is a big spot that we're at now in the weekly, just because the 2-week could reject right now. But if the weekly starts getting back above this could have implications for a nice move into next week and the following week. So don't really play the range, but don't get blindsided of these levels. The lower time frames are more choppy, so that's why it's like if we do start breaking above the zone, really gauge $29 to reject. And if you start really getting back above that today, then look at this as potentially us back in this range. $29 could be a stopping point. We easily could back test $27 again, and at that point, if it holds, I'd want to start making a move up to 34, and that'll be the big test. So it's very easy, very simple, but you just kind of have to not front run these levels and just stick to the weekly, the daily, and the monthly. I think if you start trading like the 4-hour, the hourly, 15-minute on Celsius, it's just going to be really chopped and you're going to get burnt out, in my opinion. So that's all I have. It's really very simple, really straightforward.
Even on the daily, it's choppy as fuck. So yeah, I can't imagine doing lower time frame trading for this shit. He's just going sideways.
Yeah, for real. Now, literally. Yeah. I mean, if you trade this on like a 5-minute, GG to you, because that's just terrible.
You fucking degenerates.
Perfect,
dude. Well, go out there, enjoy your Friday, enjoy not being with Farhan for a weekend, and have some fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a party specifically in his room. So
good. He's been warned. Have a good one, bud. Thank you. Bye. Vale, estamos viendo Celsius, damas y caballeros. Buenísima, esta tabla me encanta. Tiene pinta de que quiere hacer algo coqueto, pero también está jugando al hijo de puta. ¿Por qué está jugando al hijo de puta y por qué decimos esto? Porque pueden ver que ha estado haciendo estos altos acá, altos más bajos acá, y este podría ser un alto más bajo. Ajá. Esa es la pregunta, ¿no? ¿Va a ser un alto más bajo ese o ya cambiamos la tendencia? Porque tenemos esta deliciosa, podríamos llamarlo divergencia alcista en precio. Todavía no sabemos, pero estamos cerca de saber. ¿Ok? Esa es la cosa. Estamos en un punto bastante importante para Celsius, porque estoy pintando toda la tabla, denme un segundo. Estamos en un punto muy importante para el precio de Celsius porque estamos por encima de todos los promedios en la diaria retomándolos. Esto nos debería dar un impulso mínimo al 100 y del 100 tenemos que poder llevarnos nuestro máximo local por acá en 33.43. Básicamente, para hacer alcista en Celsius tienes que llevarte no solo este alto, pero tienes que pasar esta línea de tendencia. ¿Por qué? Una vez más, solamente para echarnos para atrás, alto, alto más bajo. Esto ya es un alto más bajo, así que tenemos que a huevo, para eliminar toda esta zona, toda esa zona, tenemos que poder retomar este nivel, porque eso nos diría, ok, esto fue un alto más alto, en verdad estamos en una tendencia alcista, pero por ahora no lo sabemos asegurado, o sea, no tenemos nada seguro. Vamos rápido a ver la mensual. Les voy a poner el HPDR también para que lo puedan ver. Uy, pueden ver ese rechazo delicioso que nos dio. No nada más eso, en la mensual estamos muy por debajo del 9, lo hemos estado por un rato. Estábamos a punto de perder el 100. Yo creo que el 100, como dice Alex, es un nivel muy importante. Si llegamos a perder los 25.39 en cierres mensuales, todavía faltan obviamente 24 días y 2 horas para esto, pero se llega a perder la zona de los 25.39 con el promedio del 100, vamos para abajo. Por ahora lo que nos tienta es simplemente nuestro promedio del 9, que está aquí arriba en los 33 y el 55 en los 34, lo que nos dice que tal vez haya interés por el precio para ir a dar una vuelta justamente acá y tal vez crear un alto más bajo y dar continuación a este punto. No estamos seguros todavía de cómo se va a dar. Déjame pongo el HPDR para ver qué tan realista es eso. Pueden ver que esa es la parte de la zona azul. La parte baja de la zona azul está por ahí de los 30. Así que una vez que rompes los 30 y pasas el promedio del 9, vas a tener un shot probablemente, tal vez no a la media, pero bueno, la probabilidad favorece que sería la media, pero la media está bastante lejos en 43.50. Ahora, una vez más, llegas a superar los 30.69 y de ahí te llevas también el promedio del 9 en la mensual, vámonos para arriba. De perder, y en realidad aquí está bastante fácil, de perder la zona de los 25.39 con el promedio del 100, corrobora que probablemente vayas a caer del 50% al 61.8% a los 20.60, a los 20.26, y eso básicamente te pondría en alerta para estos mínimos que ocurrieron en el 2022. Así que pues, eso podría detener la fiesta para todos los holders, para todos los Celsius holders, ¿no? Como si fueran comunidades estas de cripto. Cruce plateado a la baja en la de 2 semanas, por supuesto, lo tenemos desde acá. Y además nos acercamos y podemos ver que nos ha rechazado la media, intentamos mantener la parte de la zona azul, nos rechazó la parte alta de la zona azul y la media, y ahora estamos siendo rechazados por el promedio del 9, lo que nos está diciendo muy probablemente que vayamos a visitar este SMA 200 en los 21.17. De ir a los 21.17 tenemos que tener alerta a no llevarnos los 21.16 de esta vela. Una vez que nos lo llevemos para abajo, tienes una gran posibilidad de ir a los 17.67, que de nuevo nos pone niveles del 2022 otra vez con Celsius. Semanal, y en volatilidad no tenemos ningún setup de absolutamente nada, por eso no estoy tocándolo. La semanal te está diciendo lo que está pasando en la de 2 semanas, nos está rechazando la media que está en 27.09. De cerrar esta vela hoy, faltan 2 horas y 36 minutos. Mi Eder, si te gusta Celsius, te apunta $27.09. De cerrar por debajo de eso, tienes una más alta probabilidad de ir a los 23.78 y que no aguante los 23.78 y nos dé continuación a la baja. Y eso normalmente nos favorece la zona del 78.6% y eso está en 18.95, que eso nos pondría una vez más en el peligro de ir a esos bajos del 2022 una vez más en Celsius. 5 días estamos intentando retomar. Ok, Estamos intentando retomar ¿esto qué fue? Sí. 15%. Ok, esto fue un pompazo a la alza, pero nos llevó literalmente hasta acá y ahora vemos lo que está pasando. Ese pompazo a la alza se detuvo la volatilidad y se está yendo de lado, lo que está deteniendo esto. Con que la volatilidad continúe expandiendo a la alza, podrás ver esto una vez más y ir a intentar retestear los 31.72. Pero primero tienes que superar los 27.26. Esta vela va a cerrar en 3 días y 2 horas. Y de no poder cerrar por encima de 27, 26, los 24, 33 van a volver a aparecer. Y de ahí tendríamos que perder la zona azul. Y una vez más, estamos ya hablando de perder estos mínimos. Diaria nos pone un poco adelantados de lo que estamos viviendo con la de 5 días. Vamos a ver si nos rechazan los 27.15 o si los podemos retomar. De poderlo retomar, vamos una vez más, muy probablemente a este promedio del 100, pero de no poder hacerlo, vamos a tener rechazos de toda esta zona. Esto va a ser un SFP a la alza y vamos a acabar yendo una vez más a los 23. Y también eso cerraría este gap, que sería interesante. Ah, no, ese gap ya está cerrado. No, no está cerrado. Hasta los 23. Tienes acá de 24 a 23 no está cerrado el gap. Entonces puedes ir a visitar esa zona tranquilamente. Y si llegas a visitar esa zona, todas las demás, 24, 23, acuérdate de ese número, 23, 73, te pone por debajo de la zona azul, lo que te llevaría a números mucho más bajos en todas las temporalidades. Vamos a quitar el HPDR y hacer esto sencillo para todo el mundo. En la semanal. Quitar esto y podemos ver esto, justamente. Esto había sido la expansión de volatilidad y ahora tenemos una zona muy importante. Arriba de los $36, vamos a buscar mínimo los 42. Por debajo de los 26.69 el día de hoy, vamos a ir a este mínimo en los 17.51. Y ahí lo tienen. Así de fácil, sin tantas ventas de nada. Y ahora voy a estar de vuelta, damas y caballeros. Quiero cerrar esto, pero si está alguien en vivo, está la Reserva Federal en vivo y así, déjenme el digo. Alguien me había preguntado, thoughts on Powell's speech, todavía no lo hemos tenido. Todavía no lo hemos tenido, o ya lo tenemos. ¿Alguien sabe en cualquiera de los comentarios, ya sea en YouTube o acá, si ya pasó lo de Powell y así, o no? Déjenme veo. Déjenme los traigo a Twitter. Vamos a ver si en Twitter ya están platicando de esto. Fed, Jerome Powell, la economía está bien y no necesita que nosotros hagamos nada. Bien, entonces va a haber continuación en lo que hemos estado diciendo todo el día de hoy. Ahí lo tienen. Tan importante la junta de la Fed. Les mando un abrazote. Pasen un gran fin de semana. Para todos ustedes que les gustan los Nadie Me Preguntó, nos vemos mañana. Para un Nadie Me Preguntó, pórtense bien, diviértanse mucho y pues nos estamos viendo. Y para todos ustedes, los miembros de la comunidad, ahí nos vemos en el Discord este fin de semana otra vez. Vamos a darle con todo, perros. Pórtense bien. Gracias por toda su atención y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Gracias, gracias, gracias.